Good morning and welcome to the AM show. It's just 11 days away to the end of the first half of 2025. I don't know if you are seeing headway with your goals, but it's time to take action and take control of all your life experiences. We are your hosts. I'm Sweetie Abochi.
And I am Samuel Kojobrace. Well, it's exciting to hear that something is coming back gradually. Yeah. But I say what? You need to be optimistic about this life. Because I always say, whatever your mind conceives of you and your life is what becomes of you. So how do you see yourself, small or big? If I were you, I would say choose big. Because even if you don't get to big, you'll be medium. Than to get small. So think positive today.
That's good, Kojo. Thank you for inspiring us. So quickly, let's tell you what we have in store for you on this 4-hour packed show, the AM show. We'll start by serving you the AM news. That is the very first news bulletin on the AM show. And after that, we'll get into AM sports, which comes right after the AM news and business update, of course. And for our news review today, we have Amanda Clinton joining us. She's head of Chambers Clinton Consultancy. We also have Tredua Dixon. He's member of parliament for Brekusu West, as well as Kofi Tonto. He's a political aide to former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Could you tell you about our big story? Well,
on our big story today, from controversy over ghost names to immediate suspension of the central management system over the integrity of the digital postings platform for national service personnel. What next? This morning, we delve into the national service scheme and effort being made to sanitize the institution. You don't want to miss the interview. Plus, open the phone lines to answer your questions.
So you want to join us with your comments and your thoughts when the show starts across all social media platforms. We enjoy news on TV. But as soon as we open the phone lines, do call us and share your thoughts with us. Of course, the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties, and they provide quality housing at affordable cost with flexible payment options. Welcome aboard the AM show. Let's start now with the AM news. Hello, it's Sweetie Abochi bringing you AM news on the AM show, and details now. The friction between chairman of the appointments committee, Bernard Ahiafo, and ranking member Alexander Penyumakin shows no signs of easing. The two clashed again, this time during the vetting of Supreme Court nominee Justice Hafizata Ameloboba over claims of interference and threats of political payback. Tensions escalated after Majority Leader Mahama stepped in to follow up on a question about salary sanctions for appointees who missed the President's April 17th asset declaration deadline. James Aveji was on that beat and reports.
The first disagreement between Minority Leader Alexander Penyumakin and Chairman Bernard Ahiafo came up when the chairman admitted a follow-up question from Majority Leader Mahama on Penyumakin's probe as to whether or not there was wrongdoing when President John Mahama imposed salary restrictions on appointees who violated his earlier April 17 deadline for declaring their assets.
Chairman, this strategy by the majority, that they have their time. When it gets to my time, then I have follow-up. Anyway, I will yield to you. If you, Chairman, would want to allow these things, no problem. Follow up. And you think that you'll be distracting me.
Honourable members, I believe everybody must be treated equally, particularly the leaders. There are instances where the minority leader called for a follow-up question and has been granted the floor to ask a follow-up question.
The ranking member again registered his protest when Bernard Ahiafo insisted that the nominee should not answer a question to the same matter which he believed was answered earlier. The two grew furious, with the chairman insisting that he cannot be intimidated by the posture of his ranking.
I cannot be intimidated by you. I'm a man with indomitable spirit. I still rule that a question has been asked. The nominee will not answer this question again. Pose another question.
Finally, the committee made headway as a nominee, Justice Hafizata Ameloboba established that there is a void created by the Constitution when it failed to provide specific sanctions for failure to declare assets within a specific period.
Honorable Chair, as has been stated, that there is no punishment regime, then what it would mean is that there's a lacuna in the law, and that must be addressed. It would need some deliberation on how this should proceed. For instance, presently we have the Constitutional Review Committee sitting. So if proposals are made to it on how to proceed, it can compile these proposals for the necessary action to be taken.
On other matters, she disagreed with assertions that Chief Justices influence the outcome of cases through the choice of justices they empaneled for some particular cases.
I believe that in the empaneling of judges, the Chief Justice performs an administrative function. Now, this administrative function is a function that has been given her by the Constitution. And I do not believe that it would or should influence the kind of decisions taken on the bench, because the Supreme Court justices of the bench are experienced, independent-minded jurists who should be able to take independent decisions.
The committee rose without vetting the final nominee, Justice Kwekutewia Akabuafo, even though he was scheduled for Wednesday, June 18. It is unclear when that vetting will be done. James Saveji, Parliament House, Accra.
Away from Parliament, emergency efforts are underway after fire ravaged key sections of the National Public Health and Reference Laboratory at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Testing areas, storage rooms, and account offices were all affected, according to the Ghana National Fire Service. Director General of Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba Akoria, who visited the scene, called it a major blow, but says contingency plans and relocation efforts are already in motion. We'll tell you more in this report.
According to the Ghana National Fire Service, the incident occurred around 10:30 p.m. yesterday on Tuesday night. The Ghana Fire Service was able to get here around 12 midnight, according to DCFO Daniela Mausi Into Sapon, who is the Chief Fire Officer for the Ghana National Fire Service. The information that we've picked from the ground, according to our assessments, is that about 5 different rooms housing the accounting office, a chemical laboratory, and also other stores were ravaged by the fire.
Yes, when you came here, you see, we finished quenching all the fire. And there are pockets of fire, so we are trying to cool it down. We got here by exactly 12:15, 12:30 thereabouts. We were able to put the fire under control. And I learned in the Office of the Records and Public Health and Reference Lab. And we were able to contain their library, but for the accounts office, their stores, admin, and lab, it's totally down. It was close to the diabetic center. That place too, we were able to salvage, and there was no problem there.
So with regards to the cause of the fire, she can't confirm what really caused the fire at this point, but investigations are underway to ascertain what really may have caused the fire.
No, we have to investigate first. We can't make a hasty conclusion. We can't assume. For fire service, you don't assume. You make sure you say the right thing. So we'd have to give us time to finish with the investigations and then get back to you.
The fire service faced a number of challenges when they got here. One of the major challenges was the hydrants at the facility, which is far from them, and also the highly inflammable chemicals that are used in the chemical laboratory. Director General of Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba Akoria, was also at the scene to assess the impact of the fire outbreak at the National Public Health and Reference Laboratory. And he reviewed that a number of measures have been put in place, including reallocation of the people in there.
There are a lot of things that we are not able to quantify yet because some part of the archives have been burnt, and we're just waiting to have a comprehensive report of the rest of the places so that we can take a decision. As I said, this is something the fire service is going to recommend. They will take care of that part, and I will take care of the Ghana Health Service component. That's the human resource and reallocation plans and all that. Once you have this situation, you move into the field with a plan to reallocate people. So we've already identified a place where the people will be sent to. The good news is there are no casualties. So we are extremely grateful that we don't have anyone who got himself burned.
Reporting for Joy News, Collins Frimpong.
The Metropolitan Chief Executive of Cape Coast, George Justice Arthur, has expressed satisfaction with the mandate given to the Metropolitan and Municipal Assemblies to take charge of sanitation issues within their jurisdiction. Speaking at a high-level stakeholder engagement in Cape Coast, the MCE stated that the Assembly is committed to prioritizing sanitation, especially after the President announced that Assembly's performance will be assessed based on their sanitation outcomes. More in this report.
The precaution here is that whoever comes to power will stick to the programmer SR2 for the next 8 years.
The stakeholder engagement was a deliberation of proposals from stakeholders made up of academics, traders, drivers, religious groups, media personnel, and concerned Cape Coasters to improve transportation, tourism, health, and sanitation in Cape Coast. Stressing on the need for community engagements, the Metropolitan Chief Executive of Cape Coast, George Justice Arthur, emphasized the significance of including communities in Cape Coast to ensure the success of the 8-year development plan.
The 1992 Constitution, those who proposed, who wrote the Constitution, are the ordinary people on the street. And they had the framework for us to be using now as a Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. So it will not be out of place to go to the people, solicit their ideas, and we have one idea, we bring it together and have a full-fledged 8-year development plan that is going to guide us in Cape Coast here. After hearing that such a news, in fact, it was the happiest day in my life when I heard the President has cancelled Zoom Lion's contract. After we assumed office, or I assumed office as a Metropolitan Chief Executive, it was very tough for me. Whenever I call on Zoom Lion, they would tell me their car is broken down and all that. So we have to, Assembly have to improvise, make sure that we get something to evacuate our refuge. So it was a headache. So it was a very happy situation, a happy moment when President announced that he has cancelled Zoom Lion contract. We are going to take our destiny into our own hands and make sure, because it's one of the assessments that the President is going to assess the MMDCs, and we are going to tackle this sanitation issue seriously in the metropolis.
The Cape Coast North Member of Parliament, Dr. Kwame Namintanyako, urged intentionality in ensuring the enhancement of tourism in Cape Coast.
Apart from the Cape Coast Castle, there's nothing more that we can talk about in Cape Coast that should warrant us to be called the hub of tourism. So since we are yet to develop a 8-year plan, there's the need for us to be intentional. We have a deliberate attempt of making sure we can add other things that can really befit that particular accolade as the hub of tourism.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Lissel Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
From Cape Coast, let me take you now to Tamale. Because some students at the Tamale Islamic Science Senior High School are spending nights in a damaged dormitory after a weekend windstorm worsened an already weak structure. Deputy Education Minister Dr. Clementa Park, who visited the school, directed authorities to request a structural audit from NADMO to assess the safety of the building. Martina Bugri tells us more.
The building, which has developed serious cracks, peeled paint and broken windows, hints of years of abandonment. It currently houses about 150 students. Inspecting the project, Dr. Park emphasized the need for the audit before determining the next course of action.
Indeed, I have seen that most of this one-story building, the upper part of it, has been ripped off by a rainstorm. As was rightly indicated by the headmaster, This has resulted in the students who hitherto be occupying the upper floor having to join their colleagues on the lower floor. This is making an already bad situation even worse. And that clearly is not conducive for the students, and it doesn't enhance effective teaching and learning.
The headmaster of the school, Mohammed Isifu, said the students are currently being accommodated in other rooms with about 40 students per room, far exceeding the ideal 15.
The building that is most affected, but the girls' dormitory, which is at the other side, it affected a portion of it as well. But immediately, management had to request our school carpenter to see what effort he could do to put that particular one in shape. So we asked that he should do it. And where you can see from here, you can see it at that far. I think that he has been able to do some, but it's not yet complete. So the windstorm also affected the girls' dormitory as well. So ideally, a room is supposed to accommodate, normal standard is supposed to be 15 thereabouts. But in our current situation, a room occupies more than 40 students.
Regarding feeding in senior high schools, Dr. Park mentioned that new modalities are being implemented to address issues of poor quality and food shortage in schools.
Yes, there are always going to be bad nuts here and there, but generally, the reports have been positive. And going forward, we are working with CHAS and other stakeholders to see the best arrangement that would ensure that there is timely provision of food in terms of perishables and non-perishables.
Dr. Park, as part of his visit, was at the Tamale Senior High School where the BEC candidates are writing, Islamic Senior High School and the Sakasaka Junior High School.
In other news, the Ghana Health Service has taken delivery of more than 90 motorbikes from the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, to boost healthcare delivery. Although several USAID operations remain on hold, Ghana, one of its long-standing partners, continues to receive support. At the handover ceremony, USAID Ghana Director Kimberly Rosen noted that the motorbikes will enhance access to healthcare services nationwide. There's more in this report.
Over 90 motorcycles to the Ghana Health Service and another 14 motorcycles to the Christian Health Association of Ghana. These motorcycles that we just mentioned will help healthcare workers reach communities with life-saving services such as antenatal care, malaria prevention, nutrition counseling, and child welfare services. Community outreach is really the backbone of Ghana's primary healthcare system, but without that reliable transport, frontline workers can't reach the households that really need it most. So today's donation of motorcycles will help close that gap. Over the past 3 years, the United States has donated over 300 motorcycles, 22 vehicles, and over 3,000 electronic tablets to the Ghana Health Service to enhance health service delivery for the most vulnerable.
A deputy director in charge of clinical care at the Ghana Health Service in the Northern Region, Dr. Kwame Techi, is advocating for men's mental health. He says the occasion should be used as a platform to spotlight men's well-being and encourage open conversations about stress, sadness, and burnout. Speaking at a health screening event organized by the Glory Hill Women Empowerment Foundation, Dr. Techi emphasized that prioritizing men's mental health is crucial to breaking the stigma associated with seeking help. We'll tell you more in this report.
Health screening offered the opportunity for men from all walks of life to gather at the EP Church Warders Canteen to seek medical care. Speaking to the media, Dr. Techi noted that societal expectations placed on men are driving many to depression, but the stigma surrounding mental health prevents them from seeking help.
Depression is actually something that is high among men, but because of our sociocultural context where men are said to not to show weakness. So they tend to harbor this within them. And by the time it is discovered, it is then too late. The pressure is quite high. And then, there are a lot of responsibilities on men. That is to work and to be able to provide for the family and to be able to support the family. You know that men actually are the lead, are the heads at home. And so there's a lot of pressure on them. And this burden sometimes tend to affect them in affecting their mood.
The CEO of Glory Hill Women Empowerment Foundation, Gloria Abiu, acknowledged the importance of men's health issues, stating that whilst their focus is on women empowerment, men's health should not be overlooked.
If we can always get men to take care of themselves, to take care of their health, we are concerned about women, but when our men are not in good health, it will be difficult for us to also live a happy life.
The Northern Regional Psychiatrist, Dr. Susan Annan, highlighted that stress, depression, and anxiety can predispose men to substance use disorder.
People with anxiety sometimes experience tremors, they have palpitations. That's a sensation of their heart beating harder and faster than the way it used to be. They can have panic attacks. They can have a sensation of lightheadedness and many other symptoms. And for a while, they may seem to be getting some relief.
Let's get into our business update now and do some business story. But first, a look at the currency market. Well, so for our first business story, consumer advocacy group CATS International has made a passionate appeal to the Bank of Ghana to urgently phase out monthly ATM card maintenance fees, particularly for customers who use their bank's ATMs exclusively, aligning Ghana with global best practices. Speaking to Joy Business on the matter, the West Africa Regional Director for CATS International, Apiakusi Adomako, admonished the central bank to mandate up to 4 free third-party ATM withdrawals per month to shield consumers from fees when their bank's machines are unavailable.
We want Bank of Ghana to mandate the banks to provide up to 5 free third-party withdrawal for every month. Number one, that is in the short term. In the medium term, the banks should be able to waive off ATM withdrawals in its entirety, and also consumers should not be made to pay any maintenance fees on ATM. And finally, the Bank of Ghana should also penalize banks whose ATM machines break down to ensure that the downtime will be reduced.
In other business stories, the year-on-year producer price inflation in ex-factory prices for all goods and services reduced drastically to 10.2% in May 2025, all the way from 18.5% in April 2025. This is the lowest rate recorded since November 2023. It also means that the average prices that producers received for their goods and services fell by 8.3% in May 2025, from April 2025. We'll tell you more in this report.
This came to light after the Ghana Statistical Service released the producer price inflation for the month of May 2025. It actually measures the rate at which the price received by domestic producers for their goods and services rises or falls over a period. The data from the Ghana Statistical Service showed that the producer price inflation rate dropped by some significant margin to 10% for the month of May. For a month-on-month comparison, prices actually dropped for most of these manufacturing firms. For some, this fresh data raises a lot of questions why some industries and manufacturing firms are yet to reduce their prices or pass on these benefits to consumers, coming on the back of the cedi's sharp appreciation against the dollar, especially for those firms that source majority of their imports from outside.
So that's for the business news. Let's wrap it up with the commodity market. That does it for the AM News. Coming up next is AM Sports, and Haruna Mubarak serves you that.
Let's do sports now on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Now, Ghana defender Baba Rahman has clarified that he has not retired from international football despite his extended absence from the Black Star squad. The left back has not featured for Ghana since November 2023 when he was subjected to boos from fans at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi during the final 2023 AFCON qualifier against the Central African Republic. In an exclusive interview with Joy Sports, the former Chelsea player opened up about his decision and reaffirmed his commitment to returning.
I've been speaking with the coach, and I mean, I would say I've not been that lucky because anytime the national team is coming up, like I got like a small injury that I need to nurse, you know. But yeah, this what they did. We've moved past it, and like this is football. I understand it.
Okay, so okay, your last statement is like it's like you are telling us that it sort of affected you, and then it was a bit of the reason why you chose to stay away for a while, plus the injuries.
Yes, let's say like 2 years ago. I think it happened 2 years ago, and yeah, the off the pitch one. That got to me. I'm not going to lie about it. That off the pitch one got to me. But if I'm on the pitch and I mean, everyone 40,000, 50,000 are booing me, like I don't care because they are not doing that. I mean, to bring me down. In my opinion, I think they are doing that for me to like prove to them that what they knew me to be doing, I should be doing that.
So you have not retired from the Black Stars?
No. It's not possible.
Back.
Someday, yes.
But you're not getting any younger. So if you say someday,
yes. But if there's life, there's hope.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been talking to the coaches, as you've said.
Yes.
And there's a possibility that you come back soon.
100%, yes.
Okay.
Now, the Ghana volleyball team have ramped up their training as they prepare to jet off to Morocco for the Africa Beach Volleyball Championships next week. Now, my colleague Ofa Efrempong has more in this report.
The Ghana men's and women's beach volleyball teams trained at Laboma Beach on Tuesday as they wrapped up their final preparations for the week ahead of the qualifiers for the Africa Beach Volleyball Championship in Morocco. The tournament, which doubles as a qualifier for the World Championship in Australia this August, will take place from June 22nd to June 30th, 2025. President of the Ghana Volleyball Association, George Tete, described the current preparations as the best he has witnessed and expressed strong belief in the teams, especially after their recent success in Rwanda.
Okay, this is the best I've seen in so many years. I have no doubt that they will be able to take the slots in Morocco for the World Championship. Well, you know, now most of our players are playing international volleyball. We have a lot of professionals, and I thank God they are all down. You can see them here. And just last week, there was a similar tournament in Rwanda where people emerged tops. So we have no doubt that they will be able to repeat that feat.
Board chairman of the association, Bawa Fuseni, also emphasized that qualifying in Morocco will enhance their chances of attracting corporate sponsorship.
Been toughened, so they are strong to go. I mean, both men and women. Both men and women, we have players who are playing outside. So it is a plus to the team. So they are well groomed enough to go on for and take a spot in the coming championship. Two of our players, the men, they just played Open Championship in Rwanda, and they were first. They took the gold medal. So we are ready. We are ready to capture our rankings in Africa.
Head coach of the men's team, Siedu Ajanaku, stated that his players have mastered the technical aspects of the game and are ready to make a mark of the World Championship in Australia.
Personally, this is not my first competition. I've played in the Youth Olympics in Argentina and Youth Commonwealth Games in Bahamas. So this is not my first competition.
But on the African continent?
Yes, I've also played in African Games. So it's not anything different from this. Okay. Yes. So like I'm saying, we are ready. Every member of the team is ready to bring their best out during the competition. So far, we started, every training from your pre-season, our endurance, our skill work, and we've touched on everything. So this is our last week of preparation, and I'm telling you that we are ready.
You're live on the AM show on the Joy News channel around the world on myjoyonline.com, on Facebook, on X Spaces, and on YouTube. The AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties. And before I introduce my guest to you, let me spend a minute and interact with you, because if you're thinking of a rewarding engagement or investment that you can make some returns on, then Waylead Company Limited is your preferred choice for such investment. Waylead Company Limited is a real estate company with several development suite credits in Accra. And you want to invest in their new development, Willow Lane, where elegance always meets tranquility in the heart of Accra. We provide quality housing at affordable cost with flexible payment options, as well as 24-hour security, reliable power supply, and other social amenities to make your stay a memorable one. Give us a call now on these numbers: 0240 111 119 or 0504 499 999. You can also visit our website at www.waylead.org for more information. And that brings me to my guest in studio. I have Amanda Clinton. She's head of Chambers Clinton Consultancy. We also have Kofi Tonto. He's political aide to former Vice President Dr. Mamudu Bawumia. We're expecting a third guest, and as and when he joins us, I will introduce him to you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Yeah, Thanks for having us.
Amanda, because you're a regular guest, Kofi, I think this is my first time meeting you on the AM show, so I want to give you your first 1 minute. Usually we give our guests a minute or so to reflect on any topical issue that they have a point to make on. So your 1 minute starts now.
Yeah, I think mine, a very good morning to you. I've been here several times, but I haven't had the chance to meet with you.
Okay.
So this is the first time. Amanda too, I've seen her on the news.
Kindly speak up for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've seen you on News File also. I'm very familiar with her legal prowess. Personally, there are a few things that are bothering me. One of them being the cost of airplane tickets, domestic, quite high. I've seen that. I think a few days ago, Partisan Air did a 10% reduction, which is good. But nevertheless, I think it's still high. I mean, some tickets are going as much as 4,400 cedis for a round trip from Accra to Kumasi. And looking at the current exchange rate, even if you are using 10 cedis per dollar, that's almost $450 for a 30-minute flight. That's quite on the high side. So something that some of us have been raising, but we've seen some airlines making changes. I think they can do.
Well, should we just leave it to them? What do you suggest we do? Looking at a more nationalistic approach to this, what do you suggest?
So I have raised the issue that Parliament needs to do a bit more. In the US, for example, Congress has some degree of oversight. If I remember instances where airlines were charging some outrageous fees for luggages, Congress was able to call them in and say, look, explain to us the basis for why you are doing this. Eventually, they were able to get the companies to push and pull away from such what they termed as junk fees. When it comes to other companies like Wells Fargo, Congress was able to call them in.
So it's up to Parliament.
So Parliament, even if it's not constitutional now, as we are looking to amend our constitution, we need to give Parliament the powers to be able to query private companies and bring them in to justify some outrageous decisions.
Okay.
Because they have to be the first point of call to protect consumers. I see nothing wrong with Parliament coming in to protect consumers.
All right.
And holding some
before I move on from you, do you think the national airline, which I know is the plans are set in motion, there's been a committee inaugurated and all, and they're doing the work for it, do you think that helps in any way?
Well, if the national airline will have a domestic side, the ones that we've seen in the past typically
are international.
International. So if it will have a domestic end to it, then it will offer another competition. It will offer another competition. But as it stands, we have a duopoly, which is we have the two airlines.
Yeah.
So if the national airline comes in and the national airline is able to offer domestic, then at least we have a third company.
Okay.
I think if we have a few more companies, it will help.
Right.
But I doubt the national airline will be domestic. They'll probably focus more on the international angle.
Well, thank you, Kofi Tonto, for sharing those thoughts. It's actually a very topical and national issue. So
it's a big issue.
If Parliament will heed this call, they should take this up. Amanda, it's your time now to share your thoughts with us. And what's on your mind? It's been a very newsy month, hasn't it?
It has. I think I just want to piggyback off what you just said about airlines. You're absolutely right. A review has to be done about tickets, but particularly on the continent as well.
Yes.
For instance, Sierra Leone, South Africa, Kenya, if you book a flight right now, even an economy ticket, it is the same price as flying to London, if you can imagine, and the US. Literally, I mean, it might be $100 or $200 apart, but it's the same price, and that is not competitive enough. So I think with a new national airline, if they can address that for flights to, for instance, regional Sierra Leone, South Africa, Kenya, where you're not paying as much as you're flying to London, it would make us competitive enough, and perhaps it would make the airline profitable. The other thing that's been on my mind is the Fitch upgrade, I think, from restricted default to B-. It's fantastic news, but I think it also means we're not just copying IMF manuals. We're literally learning from Zambia, Benin, and other African countries, and literally knowing that if we focus on domestic, it's smart and necessary because, for instance, the Iran war potentially and oil shocks, etc. It's better to build ourselves domestically, before we do that. And my final point, I think, is education. Minister Haruna Iddrisu has said that they're going to address the quality of the food, in particular, because we've seen evidence of Gari and palm nut soup. It's not fit for consumption, particularly if, 500 million Ghana cedis has been spent, in December 2024 alone. So I think that's really important, that the quality of the food is improved.
All right.
So it's for human consumption, basically.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. And I mean, that point you made on the flights within the African region, I think we should also put that call on those in charge of AFTA.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons why we have that. And if we have problems like that and the road infrastructure, even within the continent, is not enabling trade, then where are we going? Yeah. It's a good time to welcome Member of Parliament for Brekusu West. He just joins us, Mr. Chiredia Dixon. He's Member of Parliament for Brekum West, and he joins us now. Sir, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
You look good. You look like an MP.
Thank you very much for the compliment. Kofi is my big brother, so...
Okay. Okay.
And a very good morning to our viewers across the world.
Okay, well, it's good to have you. So what we're doing is taking some reflections from our guests on topical issues. I'll give you 1 minute to also walk us through anything that is topical on your mind right now.
One thing trending is the nomination of the Supreme Court judges, the vetting and matters arising. And I want to look at it from the point where my big brother Kofi has been trumpeting about packing the bench. If you look at the nominees who have appeared before the appointment committee, clearly you will know President Mahama is rather solving a very serious problem within the judicial system. What do I mean by that? We know there are a number of senior judges who have been overlooked in terms of promotion to the Supreme Court. So the 7 who were nominated, who have made the appointment committee, if you look at their backgrounds, if you look at their credentials, you know clearly there was something wrong somewhere, and that was affecting morale within the judicial service. If you take somebody like Justice Dennis Dominic Ajay, who has been at the bench at the appeals committee for 15 good years, since 2010, a member of the African Court, a member of the International Criminal Court Advisory Committee, 9 committee member, and been at the appeals court for 15 good years since 2010. And he's been overlooked all these years. Justice Jamafe has been there for over 15 years. He's been overlooked. If you look at Janapari, I was surprised. If you look at the credentials, been at the bench for over 30 years, starting as a magistrate court, district court, high court.
I will interject, but I want some clarity. Are you saying, when you say they have been overlooked, are you talking about their longevity in the service? Are you talking about their competence?
Yeah, exactly.
So the judges who were sent to the Supreme Court ahead of them, or those you think have been sidestepped, were they not competent enough?
No, what I'm saying is, in every profession, career progression is very important. So if you resume from magistrate court, district court, high court, appeals court, been there for 15 years, and people are appointed straight away, some from bar, they have no experience in the bench. That's not to say they don't qualify. What that means is people begin to think, what are the rewards? Because you work hard, move from one stage to another, with a view that you will get to the apex of your career. And when that happens, when people get to that point and they are overlooked, it affects morale in the service. Right. So the point I want to make is that, contrary to perception and the assertion by our brothers that the court is being packed, it is rather a way of motivating staff of the judicial service, especially those in the bench, that if you work hard, get to the certain point, you will be recognized.
All right.
So that is one important point I want to make. And you were talking about the fares, flight, internal flights and stuff like that. For instance, if you look at my region, Bono region, it is mainly due to lack of competition. There's only one flight, that's Partisan Air. And shockingly, just 40 minutes flight, sometimes it costs as much as 2,300.
Oh, they just quoting 4,000.
One way, no, that's what you're talking about. A return flight, you're looking at close to 5,000, depending on when you book it. You know, if you look at routes like Accra, Kumasi, Accra, Tamale, because there is competition, sometimes you have options. But in our place, because there is no competition, it's astronomically high and very difficult to get. Sometimes you need to book 2 weeks in advance. And I think we need to look at that as well. Government should work to incentivize private sector so that we can enhance competition, especially in the local flight. And of course, government should also be looking at our national carrier that will be doing international flight and local flight to boost competition and enhance productivity.
All right, so that's that for the reflections. Let's get into the papers. But Kofi Tonto, you wanted to say something. Make it brief and then we get into this.
As you rightfully said, he looks very good this morning. But as usual, he laces the nice look with propaganda. You know how he
What
did
has he said that doesn't sit well with you?
What he sought to do this morning was to chastise Akufo-Addo, but in a very beautiful way. To suggest that Akufo-Addo overlooked certain people.
Oh, no.
But that's all he said.
No, if you listen very well, I did not doubt the qualifications of those who were promoted. But I said there were others who were also due for promotion. They didn't get the opportunity.
No, but you see, here's the point.
I think that he's not responsible. Everything he said he's responsible for. He didn't mention Akufo-Addo. So, and that is his reflection on a national issue. You don't get to rebut or refute what he said because your reflection has been given already.
Yes, I know him.
So what I'm saying is when we get into the newspapers proper, when we discuss the story.
That's a quick
response. Otherwise it becomes so much political. There are so many human interest stories that I'm interested in. So let's start there.
But you see,
before we get into the politics.
It's important that we also offer education to the people.
And my point is, he hasn't mentioned the NPP or Akufo-Addo in any way. He's saying that he's happy or he's glad that these judges are now getting their flowers. I think we should end it there and get into the papers.
Anyways, I think it was more than that.
Okay.
I'll leave.
All right. Thank you. So this is what I want to do. I'll get one story each from you. We discuss and then we go for another round before I get into my papers. Amanda, of course, I'll start with you. Give us one main story from, is it the Ghanaian Times you have?
Yes, I have the New Republic and the Ghanaian Times.
Okay,
so
one story.
One story each. The first one is Mahama, and this is from the New Republic. Mahama vows to crush corrupt MMDCs. Quite an interesting article because it highlights the fact that, you know, perhaps NDC is not just going to look outward to other parties, but also look inward. And he's emphasized that these officials have been entrusted with substantial public resources and must therefore uphold integrity, transparency, and accountability. And he's talking about his own NDC people. And he says that my government will not protect any form of corrupt MMDCs when the corruption investigation agencies are after you. So I think that's quite refreshing for the public to know that, you know, this sort of Operation Oral is not just outward, but he's literally said there will be no protection. Should any of them eventually be found to, you know, engage in corruption.
Okay.
And
so let me go around. I'll come back to you for your second story. Mr. Dixon, how corrupt are MMDCs and when do we start to rid the corruption off from that entity? And I listened to the president, actually. He said that they should be careful because those who come after them may have to be elected. You know, this will be the last time that MMDCs will be appointed. So they're in a very privileged position right now. So talk to us about that.
You sure this admonishment comes on the back of the president's decision to allocate a lot of resources to the district assemblies as his way of entrenching decentralization. You know, prior to coming into office on the 7th of January, specifically during the previous administration, just about 40% of the common fund allocation was going to the district assemblies. And in my district assembly, for instance, Brikum West, throughout the year, hardly would you get up to 6 million Ghana cedis a year. Now, with the current formula, every district assembly will be getting a whooping 25 million Ghana cedis a year. And the government has a caveat that a minimum of 80% of the allocation of the District Assembly's Common Fund should go directly to the district assemblies. What that means is the MMDCs will be having a lot of resources. The MMDCs will be having a lot of money. The MMDCs will be awarding a lot of contracts. So they will determine the developmental priorities of their various districts, municipalities, and metropolitan areas. And it is on the back of that that he is advising them. We are now releasing all the resources to you to decide what you want to do with them, and you have to be very prudent in your expenditure. And the president has issued a guide as to how this money should be utilized. It may interest you to know that previously you go to some assemblies and you'll be told about 30–40% of the district assembly's common fund was utilized for administrative expenditure. This time round, the president has capped that up to just 5% and has given direction 20% going to finish legacy project. And I think that's, for me, the most significant aspect, that the money going to the district assemblies, the president has directed that all projects started by the previous administration that have been abandoned or that were not completed, allocate at least 20% to complete those projects. And that is quite refreshing. And we know President Mahama's fierce reputation for clamping down on corrupt practices, even when they are his own appointees. So I will urge the MMDCs to take this admonishment seriously, because the president will not spare any one of them if you caught in the web.
Right. So in spite of these directives and instructions and guide, I think where the rot begins often is monitoring and evaluation. It's not something we are very intentional about in this country, from my observation, and I know most of you will agree with me. So is there any particular system in place to monitor whether or not they are actually expending these monies according to the guide, so we don't wait for another year or 4 years before we realize that, oh, they didn't in fact follow the directive of the president? Exactly.
When the finance minister announced the releases to the district assemblies and parliament, if you followed closely, as part of the announcement, he said, now members of parliament within their various constituencies, districts, will be monitoring, will be reporting on these expenditures. Just like, MP share of common fund goes to the assembly, assemblies report on how the members of parliament utilize that. Now, members of parliament are involved in the utilization of the district assembly's common fund.
And so they're the ones
that will enhance monitoring and evaluation, and I think is a good thing for now.
If we turn to Amoni now, first of all, feel free to talk about whether or not this election, the question of whether or not they should be elected has always been there. It was whether or not we should elect them along partisan lines or not. And then this new restructuring, seeking to decentralize our local governance. Let's hear your take on that.
Yeah, so on the elections, we've come full circle. This is an exercise where we were almost just at the referendum level. Remember,
yes,
the Honorable Minister Hajia Alima Mahama then went through a very rigorous process for us to elect MMCs, only for NDC and some civil society organizations at last minute to say that, look, we are no more interested. And for that suggestion to even come, both political parties agreed that we should elect MMDCs. And then I think the departure came on the basis of partisanship. But from the vetting ongoing, one of the justices has actually, I don't know which one of them, but one of the justices has made it clear that the idea that we must elect MMDCs in a non-partisan manner, it's not tenable. I wish I could remember the exact name of the justice. So we've come full circle. Because look, we cannot kid ourselves You know, when you go to that level, and MP knows very well, at that level, it is probably more partisan than the top. So I think the time has come for us to, of course, elect MMDCs. But I see nothing wrong electing them on a partisan level. Because when you put in a law that says we won't elect them on partisan level, all that politicians will do is to go and hide behind people. We have not done anything. So let's just be clear in our minds what we want to do and get it done. That way we can hold them accountable. Because, look, if you are giving monies to all the monies that he's referring to, and the president is appointing that person, there's still some degree of control from the presidency, from the center. But if that person is elected, then that person will be held accountable by the people. He'll be more focused on delivering to the people than delivering to a president. You know, so these things are beautiful. I mean, you know, the suggestions about giving them more money, entrenching decentralization and all of that, I have no qualms.
All right.
But let's elect them and let's hold them accountable. And then let's delineate so we know the job of the MP and the job of the MMDCs.
Okay.
Because right now, there are some overlaps. Because the MP's job is not to fix roads, but to lobby, of course, lobbying. But the MMDC has more responsibility in that regard. But we hold an MP who doesn't have the resources to do that, except to lobby.
Hopefully this begins to even bring some clarity.
Yeah, of course, of course. So I think it's a good thing.
It's a good call.
That we must all support.
Amanda, I'm back to you for a second story.
From the same paper or different paper?
Oh, anyone. Whichever you think is...
Well, I think what's quite exciting is, you know, the East Legon Sakawa chairman sings like a canary bird.
Is that how is that a headline you're reading?
That is a headline. Literally.
I guess it's from the New Republic.
It is from the New Republic. It's sensationalizing a very serious issue, which of course is romance scams, and you know, it's quite prevalent, particularly in Ghana and Nigeria. But this is it's a big one. It's $100 million romance scam syndicate, and they're apparently called the East Legon Executive Club. And the paper reports that despite the extensive duration of their operations, which span from elaborate romance scams to business email compromises, there has been a puzzling lack of action from security agencies to dismantle the enterprise. And it also says, with Donald Trump's administration's determined to crack down on criminal activities and the recent warning of travel bans on over 30 countries, mostly from Africa, you know, it gives a highlight that this extradition of these guys are quite important because it will show Ghana's robust response to such things. But I mean, it is big business, but it affects people's lives, you know, clients in the US, etc. They take loans out just to give to someone that they think is sincere. And a lot of the, when we go to the police and different things, the strange thing we find is, you know, a lot of these people do focus on juju practices in terms of ways of extracting from people who would perhaps never.
I thought it was just them keeping their wits about them.
No,
you know,
I mean, even the police,
smart.
because I always discuss with the police, you know, why would people give so much money? And they go into some of these people's houses, apparently, and they see all this paraphernalia in relation to juju practices and like cupboards full of like rat droppings and things that they have to do, etc. And it's really odd.
Okay. The
But
rituals.
yes, there's a lot of rituals involved because it boggles the mind sometimes the level of money and why someone would take a loan out to send someone you've never met money.
Okay.
So it's really important that the CID not only deal with this, but as the article highlights, you know, this could potentially expose politicians in this $100 million romance scam. So it's something to watch.
It is.
Yeah.
A realistic question, Mr. Dixon. Do you think we can, Ghana, let's just limit it to Ghana. Can we rid ourselves of this image of, you know, one of the countries in West Africa who are actually patronizing this romance scam? Most of the rich people you see with unexplained wealth, they'll tell you that if you don't know where the money is coming from, it's probably because they're
if it's not drugs.
It's fraudulent, you know. Yeah. Mr. Dixon, your take on this?
I think it is worrisome, and we need to do a lot more about it. It has reputational implications for Ghana as a democratic country. And I'm quite excited to see that Yoko, FBI are now collaborating. I understand a couple of people are to be extradited to the United States to face justice. I think we should do more to enhance the reputation of this country.
Okay, Kofi Tonto.
So beyond the legal aspect, there are market implications as well. You know, for example, when we talk about money laundering, when we talk about these fraudulent activities, they have the potential to skyrocket prices of goods and services in a nation or in an area. You know, when you come to Ghana, one of the challenges we face is the cost of real estate. You know, the cost of real estate being so expensive, largely fueled by, quote-unquote, such monies. Because people have money, unaccountable money, to pay for things that are not even valued at the prices that they are paying for. You know, so people are buying homes and lands at outrageous prices because they have money that they have to clean. You know, because if you are able to buy a home, essentially, you take dirty money, buy a home, then you turn around and resell it, then you have clean money. And this is impacting our country and our mortgage system and our real estate system in a very negative way.
And it's not just real estate, so it's the event industry as well.
Yes.
They throw big parties.
Yes.
You don't understand why someone would throw such amounts of money on an event, and it's just a way to wash the money.
Wash the money, exactly.
There's so many mechanisms in place.
Of course. And so it's not just a social vice that's affecting our youth, of course. Creating a persona and a lifestyle that's not attainable in a normal way, you know. So we definitely have to crack down on it through the legal avenue, and then also crack down on it within our social architecture to make sure we rid off these practices.
Okay.
You know, it's not the best for us. Yeah.
Mr. Dixon, what paper do you have?
Yeah, I have Overseer.
Okay.
The Overseer.
Which story is
I want to
exciting?
touch on the story by Honorable Boachi Ejako that you don't roof before the foundation. Ejako rejects MPP's top-down approach. And the former energy minister described this as strategically unsound, politically.
What are we talking about here? The election?
Yeah, election of flag bearer before election of party executives.
Yeah.
He described this as strategically unsound, politically indefensible, and organizationally reckless. What manner of political logic is this? He queried. Where in any world, be it in politics, construction, or any other field, or common sense, do you install the roof before the foundation? And that dovetails into my submission on your sister station, Asempa, 3 days ago, that this top-down approach is meant simply to protect the current executives. It is scratch my back, I scratch your back. As it stands, if MPP were to conduct their executive elections from branches to constituency, regional, national, I can tell you over 60–70% of the current executives will go.
What research backs this?
Because of the turnout, the results they churn out on the 7th of December, and they know the base is agitated. They are eager to reject them at the constituency, regional, and national level. So by adopting this approach, one is meant to protect one particular flag candidate. If that candidate wins, then that candidate will also protect the executives to also maintain their positions. And I think it's going to create a lot of chaos, and we are aware of what is going on. For me, as an NDC, I'm not particularly concerned about what is going on. Our focus is to work very hard. Because if you look at the 2016 results, 169, 106 for MPP, 169 MPs, 106 NDC. In 2020, it was 137, 137. And now it is 187, 88. So we should not be complacent about things happening within MPP and think 2028 is already done. We need to stay focused, work hard.
To distract your governance as we speak? I know you said that you don't really concern yourself with what's happening, but they are part of governance as opposition. Do you think
not at all, except that some of our grassroots people are rejoicing about the chaos and think that is going to inure to our benefit. That's why I'm cautioning that we should not be bothered about what is happening. We should rather be focusing on what the government is doing, the tight fiscal discipline that has led to Fitch upgrading us, the reduction of our petroleum prices, reduction of inflation 24 to 18, and the rebound of the economy, mainly driven by the agri sector, which grew over 6% in the first quarter. These are things we should be focusing on doing and not be so obsessed with the chaos within the MPP.
I can't wait to hear Kofi on this. Let's go.
Well, first of all, you know, MPP is not a house. MPP is a dynamic institution with some degree of fluidity. Okay, so when you compare an institution like the MPP to a house, you get it wrong. Okay?
You're talking about Boacheja.
I'm talking about Boacheja.
Talking about bottom-up approach.
I'm saying that MPP is not a house to be roofed, or you know the analogy that you read. It's a dynamic institution, and dynamic institutions evolve, they grow. The current state of the party requires decisions that will bring the party together, unify, and minimize the bleeding. Go on social media right now and look at the vitriol, the attacks against each other. If you are to extend, and these attacks are largely driven by the impending flag bearer elections. If you are to extend this for the next 2 years, just imagine a political party, a government takes a decision to add 1 Ghana cedi to every liter of fuel. The opposition party's job is to hold the government accountable, push back for the good people of this republic. But what do you see the MPP doing? We are rather focused on attacking each other. We are not even offering Ghanaians the opposition that Ghanaians deserve, largely because we are fighting amongst ourselves on who becomes the flag bearer of the party. You do not leave your political party in that juncture. And that is why, to unify and to make sure we stop the acrimony, the decision, largely by over 90% of people who took the decision, that look, let's go ahead and do this as early as possible, and let's start from the top. You know, the point is, if you go and conduct elections at the polling station level, you are talking about 40,000 polling stations across the country. Each polling station has about 5 executives. Now we are extending it to make it 7. So if you are doing even 7 times 40,000, how many people? A lot of people. So imagine going for this degree of election. Candidate A says, I want this person to contest for me. Because obviously, if you are doing it from that level, the people who want to contest at the flag bearer level would take interest at the polling station level. They would want to make sure their people win at the polling station level. So what eventually ends up happening is that you divide the party at the base about 5 or 6 times, because Brian will have his people, Baumia will have his people, Kennedy will have his people. Then you go to electoral area coordinators. Then you go to constituency. Then you go to regional. Then you come to national. By the time you do the flag bearer election, you won't have any party. You won't have any political party. And that is why you select the leader, then the entire party rallies around the leader, and we move forward. So I don't see the point about roofing and all of that. This is a dynamic party. Look, even our national constitution, Amanda is a lawyer, what are we doing? We are amending our national constitution to meet the current times. Is that not so? So if a party finds itself in a situation where we are coming from such a gruesome election, and we feel like, look, let's take decisions to protect the unity of this party. What is this thing about
Thank you.
roofing?
Amanda, let's get your
thoughts
thoughts on this matter as well. One thing you've done that I commend is that you've admitted that you are fighting among yourselves.
Of course, certainly.
And so this, while you flaw the analogy, this is an aberration that makes everyone wonder what's the strategy here? What's the hidden intent that we can't see right now? Which is nothing new to politicians. They're telling you one thing, but at the back of their minds, in the quietness of their hearts, there's something else that they don't want to say.
There's something else
it's okay
is what
when,
I told you.
No, we get it.
Yeah.
So you're trying to unite your party so that, you know, the fighting among yourselves can stop. Amanda, let's take your thoughts on this.
Well, I think that, you know, a party divided can never succeed. So it is important to have some level of strategy as to how you pick the flag bearer, etc. And I think it's really important that NPP has admitted, you know, they suffered a huge loss.
Yeah.
And so they need to start addressing this. And the worst thing you can do is infighting, etc. So having a strategy to pick the leader and for everybody to rally around that pick is very important, because there's a lot of big players within NPP, and the more they fight, the more the public will you know, sort of be like, they still haven't got it together. So it is their way of resolving their house or house affairs, etc.
All right.
Basically.
I want to get one more story from you, but I want to squeeze this in because time may not allow us to get into every story. The issue about the free senior high school and the feeding. The story is on myjoyonline.com. You can go there and follow. But let me just read a bit, some of the shocking details for me. So the minister says, government has no intention of scrapping the decentralized system, right? But they're prepared to modify it where necessary. So between December and yesterday, we've disbursed 500 million Ghana cedis and 600 million Ghana cedis. Just today, that was yesterday, I am aware that 203 million Ghana cedis and 208 million Ghana cedis plus an additional 100 million Ghana cedis have been disbursed. Yet, I mean, despite the funding, the quality of food that are being served for to our students is heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, to say the least. So they want to do an audit, understand what's going on so that they can begin to plug the loopholes over there. We did a series, a feature series or a documentary, Empty Plate, something, and you think that from that time till now, something would have changed, but it's still the same story. Amanda, you started speaking on this, so let me start from you again.
I mean, it's huge sums of money, and for food not to be edible is a very serious concern. And I really do believe that an audit isn't about blame. You know, it's about ensuring every CD spent translates to nutritious food for our future leaders, you know, so to speak. Because, you know, if ultimately decentralization fails to deliver, it can be reversed. But it's really about, you know, options and making sure an audit takes place, etc. Because for such huge sums of money to be spent on such a noble, you know, venture, sort of like the school feeding program, an audit would certainly have to be done as to what exactly is happening, that, you know, the Gary and the palm nut soup is not fit for consumption, is appalling, and what is happening to these huge sums of money, because that in itself is a potential corruption investigation. And to just decentralize and see where the blockage is coming from, basically.
Yeah. So good call for the audit to ascertain where the rot really begins from and ended. Mr. Dixon.
That's a sad story because I was one of the fiercest campaigners against centralizing the school feeding. We campaigned fiercely that should be centralized. And upon assumption of office, President Mahama is gradually decentralizing everything, especially at the moment the perishables are provided by the headmasters and the bezzers at the local level.
In fact,
huge
let me
sums
just add one more point in your favor.
Yeah.
There was something about ordering the rice or maize from Upper West region to be brought so that they can send those to
Exactly.
so that they don't go waste.
Exactly. So the president is doing everything to enhance the school, the feeding at the senior high schools. And I'm very surprised that these are the pictures we're getting out there. The president has done the part. This year alone, Get Fund has released 2.7 billion to the education sector, and a chunk of that went to the senior high schools, especially with the feeding. And if this is what we're getting, I think we need to take a second look. So I'm all for the audit with a view to enhancing the nutrition of our students.
Okay, so the concern, some of the concerns were from people that I believe may not be sympathizers of the NDC, that they were letting go of some of the stakeholders and these bezzers and the rest. But the minister clarified that that's not what they're doing.
No,
they're re-engaging these stakeholders
exactly.
and various people who play in this industry, because it's really sad. Kofi Tonto.
Yeah, so for me, I mean, I'll be the first to admit that, you know, we have challenges with our school feeding program, and we definitely have to do more to fix whatever challenge we face with the school feeding program. But, you know, my brother, Dixon, one of the promises President Mahama made was to take the school feeding program from the buffer stock and give it to the headmasters, right?
Yeah.
But just this morning, I was watching a video where the minister has admitted that that decision is not helping. I'm sure you've seen the video.
Oh, yeah, that's why we need to review, yeah.
Exactly. So the point is, yes, you didn't come to meet a perfect school feeding system.
Yeah.
But your solutions, ab initio, were they meant to solve the problem or were they meant to be political? Because the commentary made prior to winning the elections and the actions you are taking now clearly shows that the solutions you offered before winning the elections were not properly thought through. Let's admit it. And the minister has. Because even if we have challenges with buffer stock, you identify what the challenges are and you solve them. How do you go to a headmaster whose job is to administer the school and tell the headmaster to go to market and buy goat? I mean, I'm sure you remember His Excellency making this commentary in opposition.
Kofi, you agree that was the system that served us well from Kwame Nkrumah until free SHS came in.
My brother, that system
until free SHS came in, the bezzers and headmasters were responsible for feeding
let me moderate
the students.
I'm the one talking. Because you threw the question at him.
No, it's rhetorical. It's rhetorical.
All right, go ahead.
The point is, let's not create the impression that before free SHS, young Ghanaian students were eating jollof rice with chicken and all of that. Please, let's be careful. We've always had challenges with our feeding. So let's not create the impression that free SHS came and then all of a sudden. No. But the point that I'm making is that let's limit the politics. And I'm glad Haruna Idrusu has admitted that your solution was a bad solution. So we will all support a new approach to ensure that we offer the best of foods for our children. Me, I won't do politics with it. And we'll support whatever the minister wants to do. There are certain things we shouldn't politicize. And free school feeding is one of them.
All right.
So I really hope the minister will come up with the best solution and we can all rally behind it to ensure our kids get the best and the most nutritious food for themselves. Yeah.
Sedixon.
Well, my second story is on the Canary, page 2, surge in locally produced chicken, my vision, Eric Opoku. And I think that's a fantastic story. Unfortunately, I was embedded in the delegation of the minister when he paid a courtesy call at Otumfuo's.
That's the Canary newspaper, right?
Canary newspaper. And it's talking about Ghana being among the top countries that consume chicken. Per capita consumption, 14 kilos compared to Nigeria, per capita consumption, just 3 kilos. And every year, Ghana spends in excess of $400 million importing poultry into the country. And sadly enough, notwithstanding the fact that we are consuming a lot of chicken, only 5% is produced locally, 95% imported. And the vision of the president, which is being implemented by the distinguished minister, Honorable Erikopoku, through Nkukong Kitenkete and other policies, is that we should increase our local production, and the benefit thereof is that...
Can you bring us up to speed in terms of how that's going?
That's very, very well. 55,000 households are targeted. They've started releasing this by the end of the month. Chicken and feed will be given out. Government has also earmarked big producers and will be supporting them, supporting producers of agri-feed. And he visited A2 in Kumasi, a company doing very well in that direction. So it is something I'm all for, and we support the minister to achieve. We are living in a country where in excess of $2 billion, that's our food import bill annually. 400 million goes into tomato, 400 million poultry, 400 million rice. And these are things we can do locally and export. So if he says his vision is to increase local production, he is well on course. And I'm very confident the policies on the implementation strategies on the ground will yield dividends by the end of the year. And Kofi, I want to advise that take advantage of the Nkukong Kitenkete. I've already put in my application, and I will be having about 100 beds at my own backyard, and I will not be buying imported chicken during this coming Christmas.
Commend him. He's one of the big farmers in the Brekum area. He's doing excellent when it comes to farming, so definitely a good thing. On what you've read regarding the Honorable Minister and the poultry, I don't have any issues with it. I think it's a good thing. We definitely have to improve in our local production when it comes to poultry. Personally, it's something that I'm also interested in. And I think we should all take interest in doing it.
Amanda, are you also interested in farming?
Not yet, but I'm evolving.
Right. I mean, when I was growing up, we didn't buy tomatoes, ginger, pepper, and we definitely didn't buy chicken. You know, we reared them. Everyone had a hen coop of a sort where you reared them, as, you know, and it's easy to do. You don't have to find so much to feed them. And here we are.
With the government intervention, you'll be provided with a chicken. You'll be supported with a feeding.
You're getting too excited.
So,
yeah, he is, isn't he? Let's get into your newspaper now.
Don't get too
I'm gonna quick thoughts on that, or can we move on?
No,
let's go into your story.
You know, I saw a story of a friend of mine, and I just want to say a big congratulations to him.
What paper is this? Daily Democrat.
Daily Democrat. Says public relations expert Bagbara Tanko takes leadership role as head of PR at the Ministry of Sports and Recreation. He's a fine gentleman. I have the opportunity to work with him briefly on a few projects, and he's a fine gentleman. So I just want to extend congratulations to him.
All right.
And then also Kingsley Ajaman rescues Kibi Deaf School from hunger crisis. I think it's also commendable. I think largely we've discussed most of the...
I see a headline, things fall apart.
Oh, but we've discussed...
Is that over the NPP?
That was the issue he brought up.
Over power struggle.
Yeah, over...
Okay, then let me get into mine. Business and Financial Times. So, Cuts International pushes for ATM fee reforms. I think that story was even in our business update story this morning. They're saying we should follow international best practices and scrap those monthly fees that you pay when you use your ATM card, and in fact give you about 3 or 4 windows when your ATM machine for your bank fails. You can withdraw money from another bank without the same charges, and that's that story there. I'll come to you for your quick reflection. Let me just run through the front page. Concerns mount over potential share nut export ban. CIHRM president urges HR professionals to uphold workplace ethics. Banks pressed to regain ground as Fitch takes lead digital finance and halt tallow license extension. IEA urges government raises concerns over 700 million arbitration revenue losses. So let's start from the ATM story. And I want to add the CIHRM story, not specifically on them, but on HR, whether or not as a country we take HR seriously, whether we understand what it is, what happens in our various workplaces. You're a politician, so I don't know if you have need for HR.
I don't think we take, take that seriously.
Let's discuss this.
HR professional.
You are an HR professional.
I worked as...
Often we think HR is some reports here and there when something isn't going well, but I've seen so many documentaries. It goes deeper than that. But I haven't seen one, like personally, I haven't seen the deep level that other countries take seriously human resources, especially at the workplace. I haven't seen that in Ghana. Even customer service, you know, there are things that, there's so many gaps in there. So please, enlighten us. How are we doing?
So I used to work as a workforce intelligence analyst at a Hanover Insurance, a $6 billion insurance company in the US, in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I was in the workforce intelligence analyst, you would think is in an IT department, but no, that was in the HR department. It's under the HRIS department. So we focused on data analysis, basically analyzing company-wide data. So when you come to HR, you have the talent acquisition, which also falls under recruitment. You have payroll, you have compensation, you have employee relations. I mean, different, if my memory serves me right, we have about 7 different departments within HR, largely focused on making sure you develop the talent, get the right talent in, make sure that talents are properly compensated, make sure they are properly aligned to the right businesses within the company. So HR goes beyond, I think, what the typical person knows about HR.
Do you have the same experience? I mean, you are a professional. Yeah. When you're relating to transnational organizations, I don't want to mention specific brands, compared to Ghanaian organizations, like, you know, Ghanaian local companies, do you see the difference in terms of helping these talents settle in terms of even the processes of poaching or, you know, bringing aboard a talent from one organization to the other? Do you see these things you talk about? Do you see them effectively?
No, honestly, I haven't had the chance to really delve into the Ghanaian HR practice. But, I mean, HR practice has some degree of uniformity. So I would want to believe that these practices should be normal in the Ghanaian setting. I haven't had the privilege working in Ghana HR, but I want to believe that definitely some of these things are common within the Ghanaian setting. I'm going to Facebook to see. I'm sure those watching us will be sending us some comments on this particular topic. So let me get to Amanda now. Amanda, you are head of Clinton Consultancy. Obviously, you work with people and the day-to-day in terms of how they actually do your work, because you're the head. It's of great concern to you. How do you manage them?
Well, I mean, I think I'd rather look at the general and then perhaps focus on me. But human resource is the greatest asset any company or country can have. It is like feeding yourself poison if you don't care about how you manage human resource, how you recruit human resource, and how you cultivate human resource, because ironically, they're the ones who are going to make money for you in terms of there is only so much leadership can do, but you can't do it all by yourself. And then if you don't have people that you trust, if you don't have people that you can give work to, etc., that can move that work forward, you at the end suffer. So human resource is not about, per se, the people. It really is about management. And if you want to make money for your organization or your company or your political party, you better care about how you manage your people, who you recruit, what their motivations are, and even their reasoning. You know, if you watch out their psychological reasoning, do they have integrity? Is it one or two of the same mistake? If so, how are you going to deal with it to turn it around and they are the ones who make money for you, ironically. So it isn't just about the people, but I think leadership is being smart to manage the assets of human resources. Otherwise, you yourself will lose money and you've wasted that investment in training someone. So it's a speciality, but it is also like a psychological assessment of who you're working with. And it's something that Ghana must develop. And now I know that NDC is signing contracts to send people out in terms of key areas like construction and different key areas. They're signing contracts, so some of that, of our labor, is going out. And for me, some people complain about that, but for me, it's good that it isn't always, just inward, but we're sending out some of our best whilst training the remainder of our best. And the irony is when you send people out, they always say, oh, I met someone from Ghana, and this is how they like, so they expect you to be like that, etc. So it is good to send out some of our best whilst training some more.
Thank you.
Basically.
You have the last word on this, and then we move on.
I think in some jurisdictions, they refer to this as a human capital. That's very, very important. Every organization is concerned about return on investment. And the biggest investment any organization will make is the human capital. If you develop the human capital, as Amanda said, they will rather give you the returns you want. But unfortunately, in our part of the world, once recruited, nobody cares. And for me, one area we need to look at is constant training. Constant training is very, very important on the job. No matter your level of experience, no matter your qualification, you constantly need to be refreshed about the new trends, new technology in whatever field you are operating. And that is the responsibility of the HR people. So we need to do a lot more. Look at the emotional needs of the employees so that you can get the best out of them. It's not only about remunerations. You look, emotional needs are also very important. And these are all responsibilities of the HR department of an organization.
Okay, so my last story for this news review. I'll come back to you to talk about the ATM issue. But if, Kingsley, can we watch the video from the clash in Parliament, from the appointment vetting committee? And that's the last story for us. We can't watch it, okay, we don't have enough time. But there seemed to be something. At first, I thought it was just, just politics, But Bernard Ahiafo and Afenyo Markin have clashed so many times. From the very first appointment of ministers nominees that we saw up till now. A few days ago, I heard Afenyo Markin say, addressed him as chairman and said, we've had a good day. Yeah. Don't let us ruin it. But it didn't hold because now they have ruined it. What is your take on how we are seeing our politicians? Yesterday, even Dr. Kwame Asante commended Afenyo Markin for the level of questions that he's asking. They're very analytical, deep thinking. Yeah. And then these things happen and it sort of masks the good work that they're doing. And you can't help but think, why can't we just keep our heads together? Let me start with you, Kofi.
It's Parliament, and Parliament, has different sides. And certainly, you should expect some of these things to come up. And then once the president has appointed people, Ahiafo has a duty to protect them, right? And I think sometimes he goes overboard, and that's what Afenyo...
Ahiafo goes overboard?
Yeah, I think that's why Afenyo tries to remind him. Because intrinsically, what Ahiafo is doing is trying to protect the president's candidate, which is standard. But you must not overdo it. Afenyo has the right...
So that's the sense you get?
No.
That Ahiafo is trying to protect the president's candidate?
Of course. Of course. Going back to the previous veterans, there were questions that he wouldn't allow to go through. Why do you think he was doing that? It's part of the protection. But Afenyo also feels that, look, these are important questions. I saw a video very briefly where Afenyo was having some challenges with Ahiafo over, I think he said, you don't forget, you go back to opposition and we'll also come, essentially saying that, look, we also have power and we will do probably worse than what you are doing. But in it all, I think they are still good friends. I mean, they will come back and work for Ghana.
I hope so.
But the bottom line is that, you know, one accusation.
You have to
from
make this brief,
I'm making it very brief. One accusation during the vetting of the ministers was that Ahiafo was too soft. I'm sure you remember that.
That was earlier in the year.
Yeah. So he's trying to, you know, exert
it. That we didn't see.
We didn't see. And Afenyo is saying, look, my friend, you can't overdo it.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much.
All right.
Kofi is doing this.
Do you agree with him?
No, totally disagree. Totally disagree. If you know our first Deputy Speaker, Honorable Bernard Ahiafo, very, very brilliant guy, calm demeanor, but very assertive. So sometimes people take his demeanor, his tolerance to be his weakness. And I think Honorable Afenyo has on countless occasions overstretched the limits of Ahiafo. It is rather the minority leader who is overdoing things. You see, he will ask a particular question, you answer, then change the semantics, come to ask you the same question. And there are rules guiding that a question that has been answered should not be repeated. So these are occasions when you will see Ahiafo coming in. And Kofi himself has said that the public perception out there is that Ahiafo is weak, but he's not weak. He keeps telling us on the committee we have 7 members. MPP has 5. So at every point, we have the numbers to get whoever before the appointment committee to go through. But the chairman has intentionally decided that he will give...
the chairman?
I'm talking about the Honorable Bernard Ahiafo, who chairs the appointment committee, to give the minority the say. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to voting, we have the numbers. But it appears the minority leader has been abusing that privilege. And that is why on few occasions, you see the chairman of the appointment committee coming in to say, no, enough is enough. So I think if you know him, Honorable Bernard Ahiafo is on top of his brief when he's sitting in the chamber, when he's doing his job. But Kofi, we should not take his calm demeanor to be his weakness. I think that is what...
I love that Amanda is here. So Kofi Tonto says Bernard Ahiafo is being overly dramatic sometimes.
No, but no, it is rather
Mr.
Afenyo.
Dixon is saying that it is Afenyo Markin who is trying to stampede the work of Bernard Ahiafo. What do you say? Please neutralize this.
I think it's really important in politics, in business, and in, this is not family affair. It's important, the optics that comes across because, millions of people are watching you and they're watching you on TV, they're watching you. So you've got to be able to have that level of decorum because at the end of the day, if it's a private matter, you can deal with it privately. But if it's public, you guys have all the training in the world on optics-wise how it appears.
Do they?
Oh, I mean, it took them 10, 20 years to get to where they got to, so they develop a thick skin.
From that, Parliament is one place you constantly get the training. But every session, you get about 2-3 trainings.
You see that training?
We don't see it, but the training is there.
And very relevant. There is no institution or no educational setup where people are trained how to become members of parliament. So when you come in, constantly you are trained so that you can perform your representational duties, your oversight
I'm
duties.
Sorry, at this Amanda's time, we have to go.
then,
so what you're saying is that the human resource segment of parliament is working.
And then also to remove all emotional affect. Because, you know what I mean? These guys, they have a lot of thick skin to even some of the things that are said about them publicly. You'll only remain if you have thick skin. So they naturally have thick skin. So the propaganda of having emotions and things, and then they can go off and shake each other's hands, as we saw with, I think, Mahama and Akufo-Addo when they went to some retreats.
Somewhere in Kwewu.
Yes, I mean, they were so happy with each other and, you know, talking, and yet the optics-wise of how their people behave, it's as if they wouldn't be able to sit next to each other. So I think removing emotional affect and optics is very important, because nobody has thicker skins than any politician in the world. And that must translate to how the public view them, I think.
Well, thank you all so much. I'll give you 1 minute each to give me your final words, but feel free to spend some time on the ATM, the call from CATS International on these, should I call it interest waivers on ATMs? Kofi?
Yeah, so on the ATMs, I definitely agree with, you know, the suggestion of making it, enhancing the fees and making sure it's more appropriate for us, definitely. Because sometimes I do get charges, well, depending on where you use it. I've had charges up to, I think, 20 cedis per transaction before.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, it must have been an international transaction. But locally, depending on the bank and where you go, they also charge fees and stuff. But I think largely it comes to how we do things in a very nonchalant manner in Ghana, because corporations get away with so much, right? And I think it goes back to the point that I was making earlier, that Parliament needs to step in. If it's not constitutional now, with the constitutional amendments that we are doing, we need to empower Parliament more to serve as the first consumer protection agents for Ghanaians. Okay. So they can check some of these things to protect Ghanaians, because I think we are being taken advantage of. Speaking of one thing that was also on my mind, we have too many dead zones in Ghana. And what I mean by the telcos. Look, there are some strategic areas in Ghana, East Legon, for example, one of the most affluent, and now it's turning into a residential plus commercial area. You get to certain areas in East Legon and your phone call just drops. It's almost like every single day.
Honorable Sam George, you have a missed call on the AM show. That's your time, I'm sorry. You know, Mr. Dixon.
Yeah, Kofi has said it all. It's very expensive using the ATM. And if you want to avoid congestions in the banking hall, these are some of the things we should be doing. In fact, in UK, for 5 years that I lived in UK, I can't recollect the number of times I went to the banking hall, whether it's depositing, whether it's withdrawal, because it's almost zero charges. And I think we should be promoting that. One story I wanted to have a bite was the appointment of spokesperson for the Ministry of Sports and Recreation. You know, that's a huge area. He's a brilliant guy, and he has a huge responsibility. You know, sports is the only area in the media space where people are employed specifically. You see, I don't see radio station, television employing somebody as maybe economic reporter, as a Greek reporter, as legal. You may be doing other things, but every single radio station, every single television station has sports presenters. And what that means is the level of scrutiny at the Ministry of Sports is so huge. And for that matter, you need somebody who is well-versed in their relation with the media. So media relations is key. That is why...
I'm sorry, that's our time.
The ministry, you know the sports ministry, under President Kufuor, about 8 different ministers, under President Mahama, about 8. It's very difficult to survive because of the level of scrutiny. And if you have a spokesperson who relates well with the media, who knows, that will inure to your benefit and for your longer-term survival.
All right. Amanda, I have the last word.
Yes, I do think that the charges are necessary for a lot of banks in Ghana, but they'll make money wherever they can. And, you know, there are some bad practices with banks, you know, like, for instance, just delaying on sending out large payments because, you know, the trade team is probably playing with that money. You know, there's very, very... you know, it can cost somebody a lot, but the trade team doesn't mind doing that, you know, things like that. But ultimately, I think this Fitch upgrade, you know, it is a signal, not quite salvation yet for Ghana, and we should ensure that it is not just short-term. and that we really capitalize on this and improve on it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks to MPP.
Gentlemen and ladies. Those who join us for the conversation, of course, you just heard Amanda Clinton. She's head of Chambers Clinton Consultancy. Kofi Tonto is political aide to former Vice President Dr. Alhaji Bawumia, and of course the legislator among us from Brekum West, Mr. Chiredua Dixon, Member of Parliament for Brekum West. Thank you all so much for joining us. Remember, the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties. After the break, we get into our big stories. We're taking a look at everything happening at the NSS and NSA. Please stay. From controversy over ghost names to immediate suspension of the central management system over the integrity of the digital postings platform for national service personnel, what is next? Like I mentioned this morning, we're delving into the national service scheme and the efforts being made to sanitize the institution. Kojo Brace and I are here to steer the conversation, and our guest in studio this morning is the Deputy Director of the National Service Authority, Mr. Donko Hussaini. He joins us in studio for a brief conversation. And your appointment, I hear, is expected to bring a wealth of experience in governance, administration, so many accolades, I hear. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
How's the transition been from DCE to Deputy Director General of a big institution like the NSA?
Well, I would say it feels a bit intimidating. Because, but then it also feels like an expanded form of duties or something. Because I was in Sechafram Place. That place was more of an agrarian area. I'm always on the field, on the move. Then I get appointed to this place and placed in charge of operations as well. So apart from the postings that is keeping me at the desk, a lot of my work happens to do with projects that I need to move around the country to revive most of our farms and projects. So,
and this time you have to stay put and watch computers.
Across Ghana, and you're on a MasterCard Foundation project.
Yeah, that's true.
Could that be the reason why they thought that former DC of Afram Plains, possibly the hub of Agric, could serve as a better DG in charge of operations?
Okay, so the truth of the matter is that His Excellency the President sees beyond what some of us or all of us mostly can see. And yes, Sechafram Plains was a very good area. It brought a lot of experience into my political life. But then, like you rightly said so, the President's vision now is to feed Ghana. And the Feed Ghana project means a lot of institutions have to lead that project that he can properly coordinate. And in the agencies under His Excellency the President, I think Ministry of Agric, if you take out Ministry of Agric, it is the National Service Authority that has more farms than any other institution. But unfortunately, over the years, I think most of the farms were abandoned.
Really?
Yeah, if you go to Kumawu, for instance, we had acquired 20,000 acres of land there for development into farms. It was left, at least about 2,000 was developed, it was never cropped. But then now, we have been able to revive it. We have developed about 4,000. We are currently planting almost 1,000 acres of maize currently on that particular project. GIDA is also developing irrigation dams for us so that we can expand more.
GIDA?
Yes, that is a Ghana Integrated Irrigation Development Authority.
Okay.
Then, if you go to Ejira, we had 1,000 acres of land there. We left it, it was encroached on. We came to meet only 200 acres available. Even that day when we got there was a tractor on the 200 about to start work. We had to fight with them and stop them before we take possession. So now we've cropped the 200 acres at Ejira as well. We've planted maize there. We've done 300 at Donkron Kwanta. 2,500 acres at Amantin, we lost that one to encroachers because by the time we got there, they've started farming. Everything. But then they've been told to vacate. So once they harvest their produce, they are leaving it for us. And then the MasterCard Foundation is also doing 100-acre tomato at the Abotentry area. We are doing another 200 acres of tomatoes at Yape, as I speak to you now. Damango, we are planted 130 acres of maize. We are currently doing 600 acres of maize at Karaga, and then another 200 maize at Janga in the northeast, and then 600 acres of rice.
Oh, okay.
We are doing 500 acres of rice at Abotentry as well, and then Upper West is also now coming on stream. They're also trying to do another 400 acres.
All under the MasterCard?
No. Okay. So MasterCard is only doing the tomatoes and then the poultry project.
Okay.
If you go to our Papao farms right now, initially we were supposed to do 300,000 acres. That is under the previous administration. But unfortunately, when the best came, the agency or the authority had not provided the poultry houses yet. So they were forced to give them to private anchor farmers. But then when we came and the second cycle came, within these 4 months, we've been able to construct at least 20,000 capacity poultry house. That was where we hosted the first 10,000 that we've even finished selling already.
Oh, okay.
Now we are expanding to 80,000 currently to be able to do that. Yeah.
So you use the service personnel to do all of this?
Yeah, so what we do is that we get volunteers that we pay, and then some of the service personnel who have a Greek background, they're also trained under the program. So under the MasterCard program, you train them, then when they master it, and then you set them up. That is under the MasterCard project. So mostly the service personnel are mostly on the tomato farms and then the poultry side.
So were these all done through the platform that you used to operate on? If I am applying to serve, would I have to indicate that I want to be part of the people who serve on the farms?
Yeah, so the volunteers mostly, during the postings, we post most of our Greek students to our Greek projects.
Okay.
Yeah, that one is done during the postings easily. Once the person indicates that he did a Greek engineering and all those stuff, likelihood, and then depending on the availability of facilities, you post them there. But then, after the service, some of them opt. That one is voluntary.
Okay.
That, okay, listen, I want to continue on your farm as a volunteer. So you continue paying the person whilst engaging the person on the farm.
So now that I hear you've suspended that particular platform, what led to the suspension? And now that you've done it, how are you going to go about it?
Okay, so this is the clarification. The CSMP, that is the Central Management Platform. Yes, you could say suspended, pending review. What it means is that this current system, we cannot use it to post. But then it doesn't mean personnel cannot register.
Okay.
You can still register. The system is still running. What is happening is that the DG, the Attorney General, and the IT experts from the presidency are reviewing all the protocols within the system.
Okay.
Now, to make sure that ghost names and all those things, that the suspicions around the whole system, the only thing that is up for discussion is the metric. Okay. Like if I put in my name, my Ghana card, there should be a way to authenticate that this Ghana card has not been used by Suti or has not been used by another person. And Donko is also using the same thing. So the conversation or the argument is that that particular system is still being used. But then I think the miscommunication that went out there is that from 2018 to 2024, we were not using solely Ghana card.
Okay.
So people were using other forms of identification.
Okay.
But then now, the only form of identification is the Ghana card.
Oh, okay.
So even if you miss one letter on your Ghana card, and you enter wrongly your just one letter on the system rejects it. Because
does that explain why we hear some of the ghost names used cards other than the Ghana?
Yes. Yes, because if you use the Ghana card, immediately our system goes straight to the Ghana card, Ghana NIA portal, which confirms that, okay, this Ghana card is correct. And it brings out the exact name on the card.
Okay.
So if you, the one inputting, you input a wrong figure or a wrong letter, immediately our system shuts you out.
Okay.
So I think that is the miscommunication that happened, and then there was a banter, and I think the presidency came in and said, listen, do the right thing.
So you are saying that now without a Ghana card, I cannot register?
No, not at all.
Who has control over the back end? Because I read that the back end was still being controlled by the developer of the app. Who has control of the back end?
Yeah, so National Service Authority contracted the developer to develop it for us. Only, let's say, about few people have access to the system. That is, if the school wants to upload their data, we grant them access to upload all the names and index numbers. It goes to the director of deployment. He does all the verifications. Then he forwards it to me. So I have to now check one by one and see all the names and all the figures that were brought are correct. Then I will approve that, okay, Legon has submitted, let's say, 21,000 names. Director General, I've gone through it, I've vetted it, and I'm approving them for your action. So it now goes to the Director General to also now generate the Ps for this number. Okay, so the director says, I've uploaded, let's say, 132,000 names now. I've vetted all of them. I've approved all the schools. Mind you, schools that are not accredited by GTEC cannot be approved.
Yeah, okay. So at what point do these 3,500 graduates from about 22 schools, at what point in these processes that you just outlined, did they get booted out?
So our point is to take the names of schools that are accredited and candidates that have completed successfully their academic calendar, or let's say have graduated. So between the school and our inputting their names, if GTEC says this particular school, Joy News, your accreditation has expired, it means that particular students coming from that Joy News school cannot be asked to go and do their service until the clearance is done. National Service, we don't, excuse me to say, concern ourselves with accreditation because that is not our job. But the moment GTEC writes to us and say, Joy News accreditation has expired, it means the candidates coming from Joy News are not yet ready or qualified for National Service.
Does the, what's it called, PUSAC, the Private University Students Association, do they have this understanding? Have there been a formal communication? Because they're criticizing you over the, withholding the registration about 3,000. They say 3,600, but another portal report 3,500. How many actually?
Yeah, so there could be disparities in the figures because of the names that are submitted. The school could submit, let's say, 1,005. Maybe some students who are deferred were not maybe part yet. So the numbers can always vary.
So
but
then, they have very big issues with you.
Yes, they are genuine.
Yes, they haven't had any formal response.
So the point, that is why I'm trying to explain that it is not the mandate of the National Service Authority to be checking accreditations of schools. That is GTEC. Unfortunately, these students were caught up in the web, or let's say in the crossfire, because the students, it's not their business to go and be checking whether the school is accredited or not. The school just says, okay, we are accredited. Come and pay your fees, we'll train you. They went and paid their fees. Mind you, it's part of the fees that is supposed to be used for accreditation. So on the part of GTEC, yes, I cannot hold forth for GTEC, but then I think GTEC has also not been fair to the students, because this thing should have been communicated before even our processes started.
What happens to them now?
So the only window of opportunity for the students is that they can apply as privates. But then they cannot do it in the name of the school, en bloc.
Okay.
And it's a bit strenuous. But
so if they apply as private, they have that opportunity?
Yes, of course. You have an opportunity for private, like you go and do your, let's say you go to a private school, maybe you skipped the national service this particular year, next year you want to do, you can enroll as a private candidate.
Okay.
And you'll be allowed. But then what we really want is, at least from now to 30th of June, there's a window of opportunity. So the schools still have a chance to resolve some of the issues with the GTech and get the students. We have all their data in our system. That was how come we're able to flag them anyway. So once GTech gives us the clearance that, listen, it has been resolved, their school has been accredited, immediately we roll them on.
Mr. Donko, the National Service Scheme and Authority have been a hot spot for news stories this entire year. It goes even as far back as last year, when the same Manasseh Azuri investigative journalist brought about this scandal about ghost names. You've just assumed office as Deputy Director of Operations. Tell me, what are the gaps that you've identified, for which reason we keep coming back to the National Service? Give me a comprehensive assessment of what you have seen that has been done, that you think you are going to do differently. Then we can begin to see where the loopholes are that we can plug.
I think the truth of the matter is that when my Director General and my sister Ruth took office, they went first before me. They started somewhere in February, before I got in around late March. So the first thing they did was to stop the use of all other forms of identifications, then rely solely on the Ghana card. So that immediately weeded out a lot of the fake IDs that were being used. So if you look at the figures now, you see that consistently from 2022, from 211,000, it has been coming down. Now it's around 132,000.
As in those who are already on it now?
Yes, those who have been
132,000.
Yes, that is what we are registered now, even including the ones that have been suspended.
Okay.
So, one, the Ghana card is playing a very key role. Now, the second option is that the central management system now tracks and reports on every activity of every officer that goes in there. So, for example...
That didn't exist before?
No. The traces were not easily identified. But now, if I go in, at the time I went in, the activity that I did, once we go back again, it reports everything that happened. Donko came in at this particular time, he approved A, B, C, D. If I go in again and do anything, he came in at this particular time, he changed this. So now the system is able to do that. So it leaves prints for everything that you do there. If the director of deployment uploads this number of schools, and he has to upload the physical letterhead of the school as well. So when I go in there for the approval, what I do is I look at the numbers that have been given. Then I go and look at the number on the letterhead from the school signed by the registrar. If the registrar says, I brought in 15,000 students from Legon, if I go through the list, I should be able to see exactly 15,000 students. Anything more, I have to query the registrar to explain to me why there was an addition.
So I mean, look, you are saying that now a lot of you have access to the back end. Because initially that was...
we don't, not all of us have the access.
Not all of you,
yes.
but at least you've mentioned...
The DG, myself, Director of Deployment, and then the developer. And then the MIS, yeah.
So 5 people have access to the back end.
Yes.
So it means that if there should be any ghost name in the system tomorrow, these 5 people should be...
If there is any ghost name, like I said, if Legon registrar or whoever is in Legon, we give him access to upload the names, and he uploads more than what is on the letterhead, the system now reports that, okay, at this time, Legon uploaded this number of people at this particular time. Finish. So when anybody else goes to put any addition to the Legon names, the computer reports to us that, okay, at this particular time, Donko Fuseni also went in and added this number to the number from Legon.
It wasn't so.
It wasn't so.
Now, as I sit here, my Ghana card, physically, I've misplaced. I can't find it.
Wow.
What I do have is the
soft copy.
Exactly.
Good.
So if I go to the bank and they ask for Ghana card, I only pull my phone and give them the soft copy.
Yeah.
Is that acceptable? Is
Once you input the numbers,
okay,
it will pull out your whole detail.
Oh, okay. So you don't require the physical card?
No, it's not a physical card.
It's the number you
What
want.
happens after the card is that we also take a physical picture. So even if you are using your phone to do the registration, at a point, we will require you to use that same phone to take a picture of yourself. So the moment you open and you are taking a picture of yourself, we get your live biometrics at that moment where you are.
Okay.
So that is where the system captures it. So it's not that you go and take a passport picture and scan it.
Okay.
No. Whilst you are registering, it gets to a point, the final point is that if you are using a laptop, we'll ask you to take a picture.
With a laptop?
With a laptop.
Okay.
So once you open and you are taking that picture, the system is able to detect whether you are a robot or you are entering for somebody.
Okay.
Because at that moment, we require the physical presence of the person.
So if I don't have a Ghana card at all, because we know there are some people who don't have, what can that person do?
Seriously, I'm sorry for you.
You can't say.
No.
No, sincerely speaking, without a Ghana card, it will be difficult for you.
Okay.
Because that is how we've built the system. Now it is either your Ghana card or you are not ready for a deployment this year.
The service is voluntary. We want to get some of our graduates. We want to get all our graduates to go and serve.
Now it's not voluntary. Now it's still mandatory.
Yes. Maybe I use the wrong word.
Yeah.
It's mandatory.
Yeah.
So if I've completed university or any tertiary institution and I don't have a Ghana card, I am mandated to do my service. And you're saying that you're putting an impediment
I'm just
on my way.
with you.
Okay.
This same time that you are having after your school, just go and do your Ghana card. Okay. It will save all of us the stress.
Right. So this facial thing you're talking about, was it there previously?
Okay, so previously you could use your passport, you could scan and add, but now I think from 2024, that was where we started the facial. But then still, because the Ghana card was not the only form of identification, you could scan your picture and add. But this time around, we don't accept scanned pictures.
The machine has to.
The machine has to take you.
So that's how you're weeding out.
Yes.
Okay.
So it takes you real-time pictures.
Okay.
Something you said, and I have to take you back to the NSS ghost name scandal.
Yeah.
You said that you were given an example, and you said, for example, if Legon onboards 1,000 people, nobody can go on now and add because the system tracks. First of all, I'm surprised that even Google Docs has that. Anyone who enters, you can see that someone came. I'm surprised that they had a whole central management system portal and you couldn't track, but that's aside. That's aside. Does it mean that in this scandal that we are seeing, the universities have been exculpated? They can't be blamed for what we are seeing right now in terms of the ghost name?
Previously,
because you said that's what we are doing now, which means it wasn't done.
Previously, some of them were culpable. Previously, some of them were overloading, or maybe somebody was mischievously loading on their behalf.
But you couldn't track.
So now, what has happened is that if I give access or grant access to, let's say, sorry, I'm using Legon so much. If I grant access to Legon, that, okay, your letterhead has gotten to me that you have this number of people, so upload them for me. So they just upload the total list of all their students, their index numbers, their names, their courses they offered and everything. So they load all their data into our system. So once they are done, they are out. Then we take over. So once we take over, the director of deployment now checks to see all the index numbers are correct. They match the people they are, like verification of all the names and everything.
So this director of employment, which is that an office on its own, or it falls under your?
It falls under me.
Under your
yes.
office.
He reports. Yes, he reports to me.
Go on. I want to understand.
Yeah. So
there's a question.
the director of deployments now, after vetting all the numbers and say, okay, Legon brought this number. This is their letterhead. So he pushes them to me for approval. I'm the only person who can approve that. Okay, Legon, I've approved your school. You can now go into the system after the numbers have been generated to go and register. Without my approval, you can go there now. Now the pins have been released. without your school being approved, you can go there to register. Once you key in your index number, it will tell you pending. So then it means your school has not yet been approved.
Right. So are we right in not right? Does it make sense then that the names that are coming up as those who have created some sort of cabal or syndicate to be putting ghost names there so they can siphon money for their own personal gains? Are we right in saying that the names that are coming up are actually the people who were and the Director General? I was reading Manasseh, Suleiman Abraham. Have you seen that? He explained how it is a service provider who he created a service and gave it to you. You are the ones at the back end who see everything. So the names that are coming up, Gift Wari and the rest, is it right to say they were the ones in charge?
So like I said,
overseeing this crime.
Like I said, if you look at the processes very well, from the Director of Deployment, the MIS Director also is in charge of the system operating. So the MIS Director, the Director of Deployment, the operations, he does the approval. Then the DG generates the pins. Do you get it? And then it comes back again. The Director of Operations assigns all the things that have been approved and say, okay, listen, pins have been generated, they have been approved, you can now assign. So
someone ought to have seen at some point.
All the three directors can see.
Okay, so why are we not talking about the just passed director?
He's been indicted, he's been picked up.
I must have missed that.
Oh yeah, Osasibe is also standing trial. No, sorry, it's under investigations actually. Yeah, even Honorable Yusuf Mustafa is also under investigation. All of them.
He has written
I
that
think
he's willing to go
Gifty
to court to defend himself.
is so much out there because of some of the technicalities involved. Because she was Director, Finance and Administration, as Madam Ruth Sedo is now. She actually oversees the personnel allowances and emoluments and all those stuff.
All right.
So
let me make this quick.
Her issue, sorry.
We are opening the phone lines for you to call us just for 10 minutes or so. The phone number is on your screen, 0302-211-691. Call us. If you have a question, make it straight to the point. Don't listen to us on your TV set. Speak to us directly on your mobile phones. Let's get all your questions answered for you. Please, Lano.
Yeah, so like the delays in the release of allowances, the investigation shows that at a point they were using the allowances as collateral for loans and all. So it was more of the financial issues that had to do with her actually. And then most of the vendors were also like people who were using supply, because it had to be people that had to generate their fake IDs and fake names for you. So that was how come, and because she was so loud, I think that is how come the media is always almost about her. But then the final approval most at times comes from the Director General. In their case, the Executive Director.
All right, so we have our first caller. Indulge me. Hi, Dennis, calling us from Kumasi. What's your question?
Okay, so good morning to you all. Please, my question is, one, should those who are applying for the NSS court and wait for further notice? Then two, we want to...
Didn't get the question.
You're saying those who've been told to wait for further notice. What about it?
I'm asking if they should still halt and wait for further notice.
Okay.
No.
Let him finish. Okay. Yeah. Go on.
Then two, the issue about scandal and Gifty, we are in Ghana. We urge our leaders that no matter what, if she is the Director of Finance and Administration, probably she was spearheading that. But going into it in detail, you could see that there were maybe bigger people who were using her. So we urge them. We are here, but we are also watching them.
All right, Dennis. Thank you for calling. So he's asking, those who've been told to wait till further notice, should they still wait?
No, but is it the 3,500 people?
Yeah, this year, I think those who are,
Yes, for them, until the school sorts things out with the GTech, we cannot proceed with their registration.
Okay.
They cannot register at all until it's sorted out.
So this year, there's no chance they are...
As for the review the review will go on concurrently with the registration. So you can still register. It's just that once there's a detection that, okay, change this particular metric or change this particular app, immediately it will be updated. So it doesn't concern the personnel's registering now at all. The review doesn't concern them. They should continue with their registration.
All right, Kojo.
Well, I know we have Charles from Kumasi. Charles, how are you? Let's have your question.
Thank you very much, Kojo. My concern has to do with students who. My concern has to do with the students who actually went to, let's say, the private school.
Okay.
I mean, those that the institution has not been accredited. And it is the responsibility of the GTEC to ensure that these institutions are accredited. So I want to find out what preventive measures is against this GTEC institution. Because they are also paid by taxpayers' money. Why would somebody go to school after 3 or 4 years and then he wants to do national service and then somebody's inability to execute his tax? You are telling the person that you cannot actually do service. I think that we are not being fair to ourselves, and the institutions must be actually held responsible.
Okay.
The way we are building the country, people must actually be held responsible when they fail to execute what is expected of them.
Okay. All right.
We cannot actually be shifting blames to one another, causing people in pain.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for calling. We appreciate your call. Thank you.
But Donko, once there is, I mean, nowadays there's a lot of clemency coming out from the presidency.
Yeah.
Can these, because like you said, and you have also said that earlier, that it's not fault of the student.
That is true.
Why must they be punished?
They are not being punished. That is why I told you
that they can.
Yes, roll on as private candidates.
I get it now.
Yes, that is yes.
This year?
Yes.
Oh, then I think we should just have a formal communication.
No, but then
let them know.
Yes, but that is why, but then you also see that way the institutions escape their responsibilities. So I think GTEC is not after the students. GTEC is with the some of them are huge.
Okay.
Some are into 200, some about 100 and something. A lot of them. Some are very popular universities, and some of them too, you could see that they started the process, but they've not completed. So maybe somebody is just sleeping on the job.
Let's usher in Isaac now. Isaac, talk to us.
Good morning, Sweetie and Kojo and your panelists. I would want to ask 2 quick questions. First one, we're hearing the issue about the scandal and all that went into it. We didn't hear anything about reposting, but I know that that goes there as well, where people are sent to some place to have their service, and then some personnel within the scheme or authority who have their postings changed. I want to find out who actually is in charge. How does that, if somebody is able to change the posting, at what point is that able to happen? And then the second one, you heard about all the mistakes that went on in the former administration. Can we know any initiatives that they brought, things that we didn't know happened with the national service and your state and some other things that happened under this administration that were novelty or things that we hadn't seen before that we have or can access now as personnel?
All right, Isaac. Thank you. I think you actually touched on that.
Yeah.
That is now you have the system can track who's entered and not. But please go ahead.
But the reposting, yes, that is also mostly under my department. Yes, so there are 3 or 2 categories of people we consider for reposting. Initially, when we are posting, we post you to mostly, we try to at least achieve 100% of the regions that you chose. So for example, if you choose Ashanti region as your first region, we try to deploy you into Ashanti region. But then at times we don't have control over the districts because maybe you did marketing or maybe human resource, and we are sending you to government institutions. Maybe the government institutions in one particular district, or let's say KMA, if it is full, we fall to Asokwa and the rest. So that is what happens to us. So let's say we take you from Kumasi to maybe my former district, Drobonso. If you are a nursing mother, we can easily say, okay, maybe this was an oversight. So we repost you back to a place that is closer to your baby.
Okay.
Let's say
But it sounds like some people are being moved around without their notice, or
No, you cannot be moved around without your notice.
He said someone goes into the system to change the posting.
No, reposting is only at the request of the personnel. Yes.
Okay.
You can't do reposting on behalf of somebody if he has not requested. Because once the person goes to where he has been posted or she has been posted and registered there, the person has been validated there. Okay. So you can't move the person again.
Okay.
If you move the person, it becomes like the person has abandoned post. So your allowances will not go.
Ah, okay.
Right. So nursing mothers, disability, and then critically ill people. They are the people that we do reposting for.
Okay. Let's usher in Abdul. Abdul, good morning. What's your question?
Good morning. Good morning. I want to ask, I have a problem with my Ghana card. The date of birth on my Ghana card is different from the date of birth that the school I'm having in the school. So I wanted to know how...
Cite twice now.
That's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Even if I plead with the computer, it will not accept. that's the
Can you not go to
So the only option now is to go to NIA for them to correct it immediately.
Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, the moment you input it, your school has submitted your data. Maybe during the submission of the data, you should have given what is on the Ghana card to the school. Do you get it? Okay. But once the school submits a different data, like I said, even if it's missing by one letter, the system will not accept you.
Okay.
So it's quickly he goes to the NIA office to rectify it. Or, in fact, the school even resending a different thing will be strenuous now. The only option is the NIA.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm sorry, but it will be difficult.
All right. We also hear that there's some military training coming up. That people are.
I'm surprised you never asked.
The first batch is set to.
Welcome to it.
Yeah. So we are starting the. Excuse me, because of I don't want to fall into trouble with the Chief of Defense Staff. So let me use the right word.
Okay.
People have been saying military training, but the right word, according to the military, is the military orientation.
So it's not training?
It is not training, because if you say military training, ouch.
That's
a whole...
So they won't go through the mammoth of training that they
No! Okay. You are not doing all the... No, you are not going to be shooting guns. You are not going to be sleeping in the jungle. So, you see, this is where I think the military is also not helping us. Because all we know about their training is that they put them in the jungle without food, small water. That's all we all know. But it will shock you to know they go into report writing, they do communication skills, emergency care, basic things we do in the university. They do a lot of them there as well. So until we also got close and they gave us the whole model, we thought it was all about salutation and the rest. So, yes, what we are trying to take them through is actually, one, discipline, time management, most importantly, emergency response preparedness.
Okay.
If it's voluntary?
For now, it's voluntary.
Okay, because the question was...
subsequently, it's going to be mandatory.
Okay.
Now, because we are starting, we want to be sure of what we are doing. So the military installations, training centers in the country can take 5,000. We are falling on another university in the country to also give us a facility that can take another 5,000. So this year, this August, we are doing 10,000 as pilots. Then we roll it out, look at all the training models, how it affects them, what is their psyche. Then after that, we deploy them, monitor them, and see their outputs. Then when we see the results, then we can now say, okay, now it becomes mandatory for everybody.
What's the goal?
The goal is to, one, train them in emergency response preparedness. Two, build a very disciplined, patriotic youth. And then three, make them more productive. Because once they are able to manage their time well and be disciplined, and mind you, like I said, even communication is going to be taught there. So once all those things, like they are equipped with that extra activity from the school, at least every graduate at least can turn around. But then extra skills can help you.
Tell us exactly how military orientation will boost patriotism.
Yes, so...
and it's only 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes. The truth of the matter is that these are graduates, or let's say intellectuals. So their ability to process information is faster than maybe what my grandmother would do in the village. What we are adding to them now is the basic skills of time management, how to discipline, how to respond to situations, how to be able to take decisions on your feet at a go. Like, let them know there is something out there in the world. Because normally it is actually right from school to maybe Joy FM, you are posted to do your service. So between Joy FM and the school, nobody tells him, listen, if you go to Joy FM, this is how you behave. This is how you talk to your seniors. This is how you talk to your superiors. This is how you act on the job. This is how you report to time. So this is something just to prepare them properly so that at least productivity can be enhanced. So for me, it is about letting them know life out there is not just about from the book to the
so
to your allowance.
Here because there are, I mean, many people will tell you these days that the Ghanaian isn't as patriotic as our forefathers, you know, and there are a lot of productive people, successful people who aren't patriotic. What you're explaining sounds like training these people to have a corporate sense of doing things, you know, how to translate your ideas into communication and all that. But when it comes to patriotism, I don't see the link, so help me out.
So, yes, that is why we chose the military. Because if there is any institution that is the most patriotic in this country, it is the military. And we believe if they are able to build that sense of patriotism into this 6 weeks, mind you, it's not a joke. And it's not as if they will go to the training and come back home. They are spending the entire 6 weeks with them.
So, and you are sure some will not come out hating the country even more than loving
I'm not so sure.
No,
because I have mates that, excuse me to say, were so unrefined, but then find themselves in the military and they are like the most gentlemen you can ever meet. Oh, that is it. You may be the roughest person, but go to the military and come back.
But they are military people, right?
Yes.
You said they are not going to go through the entire training as a military.
Yes.
When so they are not military training.
They are not being trained. They are not being trained to become military personnel.
Yes,
that is true. But then they are taking through some basic military orientation to know that this is how it's done here.
Okay.
But then anybody with interest who want to pursue a career in the military with this particular training background, you have a competitive advantage over your peers.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
well, let's see. But it sounds or looks like we are trying to do what the Nigerians do.
Well, I think most countries are doing it now. But then, if you cast your mind back, Ghana was doing it. When we had the young pioneers, the scouts, and all those, like, those times, things were a bit different than now. Okay. Like you said, if even the national anthem is being played, you see people on their phone, people walking around, not even standing up. But those days back in school, even farmers going to farm, when we were playing our national anthem, they had to stop until we finished before they cross and go. So those are some of the things that used to be brought back.
I remember when we were in basic school. Our school was such that the people who were coming from Agona Fie to Agona Nkwanta would definitely use the school park. And when we are playing the anthem, you see everybody stop in their tracks. It was.
Now, we are losing that gradually. And I think the best ambassadors for that will be our graduate youth.
You sure?
I'm sure.
So when these youth go for this training you're talking about and they hear the anthem being played, they'll stop.
You can't go for even 1 month military training and come back and your life will be the same.
Okay. We'll put this time out.
Yes, time will tell.
Evaluate them and
so
see.
It looks like there's some reform going on both at NSA and NSS. Tell us exactly, in a comprehensive way, summarize what these reforms are, and then we can also follow you as you materialize.
Yeah, so now it is one. NSA is now one. there's no more NSS.
Okay, so we have a National Service Authority
now.
Great.
So now we are able to, on our own, even like take facilities like loans, grants, and all the rest into projects that can benefit, especially
like the farms.
Yes. So that is why MasterCard Foundation, in partnership with us, we are engaging in this project at Papawo Farms.
Okay, so that's it. Reforms.
Yeah. So that is one. Aside that, we are also now going into training programs. So we are doing the online, like the Hubtel. No, sorry, not Hubtel. The Hubs. The Hubs, yeah. Okay. So a lot of our personnel are also now involved in the coding and all those outsourcing of information. We train most of the personnel in that as well. Okay. Aside that, Get Fund is now also going to partner NSA to develop poultry farms in all secondary schools across Ghana.
Okay, brilliant.
Yes,
brilliant.
And then aside that, apart from the 100,000 broilers we are doing at Papawo, we are going to expand that into 5 different regions.
All right, okay, thank you very much. But how many names have you added so far?
To the National Service?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, what we call ghost names.
I didn't see that one coming. But you can see a ghost.
Hussein Donko is Deputy Director of Operations at the National Service Authority, and he joined us this morning for an exclusive conversation on the AM show. Before we go, the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management Ghana presents the CIHRM 2025 conference on June 18th to 19th, 2025 at Alisa Hotel right here in Accra. The theme is Regulating HRM in Ghana, Standards, Ethics, Sustainability. These are the conference rates. Members are paying 3,200 Ghana cedis. Non-members, 4,000 Ghana cedis. Student members will pay 2,000 Ghana cedis. Now, you can register via the CIHRM website or at CIHRM Ghana on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on X. If you want to call for group registrations and discounts, call this number, 0243-278-694. CIHRM, transforming work and workplaces. Kojo?
Well, let me talk to you about DTI, because if you're looking to do things differently, to level up your skills and get ahead in this challenging job market, then I have good news for you, because statistics show that it's tough out there for university graduates with only a few landing jobs immediately after school. Doing things differently is what you have to be doing, and that's what Design and Technology Institute is all about. DTI offers programs ranging from precision welding and fabrication to design innovation, including graphic design, sound engineering, animation, photography, among others, and entrepreneurship. Our programs are internationally recognized by the American Welding Society, Pearson, BTech, and CTVET. So you can shine here in Ghana or anywhere across the globe. So if you are ready to do things differently and chart your path, check out DTI. Visit dtiafrica.com/admission or call us 0541-693534 for more information. DTI, we say we are the best place for you to chart your path.
Well, we'll take a quick break. When we return, there's more action, there's more, like an hour more on the AM show with us. Please stay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for staying with us on the AM show. The show is sponsored by Waylead Properties, and they provide quality housing at affordable costs with flexible payment option. As young as 9 or 10, I remember hearing Africa, oh, Africa, oh, da, 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 da. Every time you hear that song, you know it's Habitat Fair. And I have in studio 2 beautiful women from 2 different entities to talk to us about what they're doing specially this time round on the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, which takes effect or starts this Saturday, so don't miss it. So who's joining me in studio this morning? From Elegant Homes and General Construction, we have Laurentia Ofori-Amanfo. She is Sales and Marketing Executive at Elegant Homes. Laurentia, welcome to the program.
Hello.
The second time I'm interviewing you,
yes.
Huh? And we also have from Virtual Security Africa, Esther Abuajewa, and she's a Senior Sales and Marketing Executive. Esther, welcome to the program. So both Esther and Laurentia have been here before. We've spoken about the EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair. I have seen you at the fairs. We've had so much wonderful good times. Let me start with this question. Did you get your money's worth, Esther?
Okay, sure. I say sure because as part of our mission as a company, we are trying to make sure that almost every household in this country is secured. And we've been able to save a lot of homes.
Fantastic. Yeah. So introduce us now to Virtual Security Africa.
Okay, thank you. So Virtual Security Africa is a Ghanaian-owned company. And we've been in existence for 17 years. We have 17 years experience in providing electronic security solutions. So our solutions ranges from security surveillance systems, intrusion detection, anti-perimeter detection. So basically, we sell and we install CCTV, fire alarm, intruder alarm, access control, time and attendance. We have vehicle boom barriers, electric fencing, turnstiles. It goes on and on. So if you think about security, electronic security, Virtual Security Africa.
Do you have tracking devices?
Yes, we do.
How small are they?
Oh, it's very handy. Yes. We even have body cameras as well.
I'm asking because I want to track the whereabouts of my little sister.
Okay.
Laurentia, talk to us about elegant homes. I mean, from security, homes are very important.
Yeah.
What do you do? Introduce us to Elegant Homes.
So, we are all welcome back this year to Joy News Habitat Fair. So, Elegant Homes is a construction and a real estate company which builds and sells 3, 4, 5-bedroom detached houses in a gated community located at Katamanso of the Adenta Dodowa Road. Okay. We also have an affiliate company called Elegant Homes Products. We fabricate and sell high-quality UPVC windows, door profiles, plasterboards, cornices, and many more.
Laurentia, why are you back again?
So yes, we've been with Habitat Fair, EcoBank Habitat Fair for quite a long time, and every year, yes, we get to experience new innovations. We get to meet different clients or prospective clients, which generates leads and results into sales. So yes, every year we are always proud to join the Habitat Fair.
Okay, thank you. And Esther, although you do everything electronic security, there must be some products that you are taking center stage for this year's fair, whether it is discounts that you're giving, whether you've upgraded some system that you need to educate us about. This is the time to tell us about it.
Okay, thank you. So we've been able to carve a niche for ourselves as a security company. So everywhere you go, if you mention virtual security, oh, the CCTV company, oh, the electric fencing company, you get it. So we are focusing more on all our products. So like CCTV, our CCTVs are the best on the market. You have been to the fair, you've seen our CCTV cameras being displayed on our monitors. We have the best camera quality and we give quality. We don't compromise on quality because we are ISO certified.
Okay.
Yes, ISO 27001 certified. And we are
Is that the international security?
Yes, that is an international compliance, you get it. And we are certified. And we are NDA compliant as well. Okay. NDA is National Defense Authorization Act. Okay. So it's a set of federal laws that's passed in the United States. And it forbids certain security surveillance systems from entering the US market. It's forbidden from contraction and or subcontraction, nothing. And it is because some of these products are believed to have backdoor accessibility. Backdoor accessibility, I mean, you thinking your CCTV is taking care of you, someone somewhere can hack into your system. So a lot of these products are on the market. People don't know it, they are buying it. But we are NDA compliant, meaning that our products do not fall under that category. You get it? So, yeah. So this year, we are coming much better to educate people on the need of getting our product, not just any CCTV, but our product. We also have the body cameras as well. Yes, a body camera is a very small camera you can wear on your body. You can use it with or without electricity. Just charge it when it's full. It can record straight for up to about 10 hours.
Okay.
You can take it out of where you are, set confines for the system. Anywhere the system goes, you can track it. It has GPS.
Laurentia, you sound like you really came back this year to protect the Ghanaian.
Exactly.
You know, I watched too many scary movies. So that thing you said about CCTV and someone monitoring you without your knowledge is very dangerous. So don't buy from anywhere else, my people. Buy from Virtual Security Africa. So Laurentia, that brings me to you. What are you doing differently? What upgrades have you done? What's new this time? Talk to us.
Okay, so I will hit on our previous ones. We are still selling the 3, 4, 5 bedroom detached homes in the gated community. We still have an ongoing project. Also, we have some houses at East Legon.
Okay.
And also our products that we are selling, which is the building materials with the doors, the windows. But this year, we are bringing in a new design. We have lots of designs that clients can choose off plan. So we encourage everybody to come on board for us to discuss. We have discounts and other freebies.
Let's stay there for a while. I like the discounts and the freebies. What freebies are you giving? But in terms of discounts, what is the lowest amount of money you need to start that process of getting a home from Elegant Homes?
So it depends on every house. We have a wide range of houses, and also we are open for clients to also customize their own.
Let's say 3-bedroom. How much do you need on the average?
So we want clients to come around. Let's talk business. Yes.
Okay, it means whatever your budget, whatever your needs.
Yes, we are there
find a
for
way
you.
to make it work for the person.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we are giving the 10% discount on all our prices, including a free remote control garage. We have the ceiling speakers, the fitted wardrobe and the kitchen, and many more. So everybody should make their way to Achimota tomorrow for us to discuss about the prices you were asking about.
Okay, thank you. So wait, you didn't mention the freebies, or that also comes with the conversation.
Yes,
okay, I like that. I mean, looking ahead, this all starts tomorrow. What is your message? We should be wrapping up, but what is your message to the people who may have not decided yet that they want to actually show up and find a home for themselves or get some security gadget for themselves? Laurentia, I'm still on you. Talk to them and let them understand that tomorrow is not one to be missed.
So Elegant Homes is a one-stop shop. You get everything, including the houses I already mentioned and the freebies. The remote garage, the free remote garage, the ceiling speakers, the wardrobe is already fitted in your kitchen. So we encourage everybody from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday to Sunday to make their way at Achimota Retail Center. Everyone making plans or want to speak to a home development company about owning a property should look at Elegant Homes. We have different designs, and also we have our people on standby to talk about.
Thank you, Laurentia. Esther.
Hi, darling.
Why should they not miss tomorrow?
Okay, so like I said, tomorrow we are giving 20% discount. Yes. 20% discount on all our products, yes. Being the CCTV, fire alarm, intruder alarm access control, video intercom, any security product that we are selling, we are putting on sale tomorrow through to Sunday. We are giving 20% discount.
All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming. And in fact, I'll be there myself tomorrow. I'll be there on Saturday to host a seminar on, of course, the same topic, how you can get a home, elegant home and all that. Laurentia is from Elegant Homes and General Construction Limited. She is a sales and marketing executive. And Esther Abuajua is a senior sales and marketing executive with Virtual Security Africa. And they joined us for this Bills of Conversations on the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. Thank you for coming.
Thank you
I'll
for
see
having
you
us.
tomorrow.
Right.
So before I pop off, I want to give you these important pieces of information. And Syntex Tank has a very important message for you. They're saying that if your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's time for you to upgrade. You want to join the Syntex Tank family and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. Syntex Tank is a champion of water tanks. It is strong and durable and built to handle our Ghanaian weather. So whether rain or shine, Syntex Tank has got your back. So as you hear my voice telling you this important piece of information, go outside and check your tank. And if it doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex family and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. Here's how to get one: 0244 355 168 or call. Go online at www.syntexgh.com to buy one now. Syntex is strong, is tough. I'll be right back with more. The AM show, as always, is sponsored by Waylead Properties. We provide quality housing at affordable costs with flexible payment option. Let's talk about sickle cell because, unbeknownst to you and so many people, today is World Sickle Cell Day, Awareness Day. And in the studio with me, two beautiful women, one gentleman. I already love the energy. Dr. Mary Ansom is CEO and co-founder, International Sickle Cell Center. Martha Wiafe is COO and co-founder of the International Sickle Cell Center. And Theophilus Nyamedi is secretary of the Sickle Cell Disease Support Group of Ghana. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
It's very good to see you both. Thank you all. I shouldn't leave the man out. So, I mean, today we are marking, exactly what is it that we are celebrating or marking today, Dr. Anson?
So we are celebrating World Sickle Cell Day, and it's a day that's set aside globally by the UN, WHO to recognize sickle cell disease for what it is. It's a global public health problem. It's neglected. We want to raise awareness about the condition. So this is being done globally, and we want to advocate for better care and support for people living with sickle cell disease.
Okay. Martha, so tell us about the your organization, the International Sickle Cell Center. Exactly what do you do? How has the journey for you evolved over the years? And why should we all even keep our eyes on you?
So at the International Sickle Center, International Sickle Cell Center is a registered NGO in Ghana. And what we do basically is sickle cell awareness, sickle cell education, sickle cell screening, research, advocacy, and then support. With the support, we do give students who have dropped out of school due to sickle cell disease. We try our best to support them, get them back to school. So it's a back to school program, and we have the entrepreneurial support where mothers, especially mothers, who have lost their jobs due to sickle cell disease, they care for their kids with sickle cell disease, so they end up losing their jobs. And sometimes the little capital they get, they end up using it to support their kids with sickle cell disease. So we try to help in the little way that we can.
I think it's powerful what you're doing.
Yes.
And I mean, both you and Mary, you are twins. You're both from the International Sickle Cell Center, but it's only Theophilus who is from SCDSG. What exactly is your organization about, and do you do anything different from what they're doing?
So, Sickle Cell Disease Support Group, we are the mouthpiece of sickle cell patients all over. And our headquarters is at Ridge Hospital. We are also a non-governmental organization.
Okay.
And we emphasize on the care that we offer to sickle cell patients. So we provide comprehensive care, we provide equitable care and high quality care to patients living with sickle cell disease.
Okay.
So when we talk about comprehensive care, we are dealing with all the multifaceted various sides of sickle cell, of care in the hospital. So taking into consideration the hematology, psychology, nursing, doctors, we all come together to take care of that one child having sickle cell disease. So we try to reach all the various needs of the child having sickle cell disease. So when you come to Ridge Hospital, our clinic, we have, so when we consult with you and we realize that you need a psychological care, we take you to the psychologist who is ever ready to support you, to help you. Okay. And also, we also get to regions where we form clinics there to also help patients with sickle cell.
Of course, you're spreading your tentacles everywhere. When it comes to issues of health, I like us to bust some myths, you know, because there's so much misinformation going around. So, Dr. Mary Anson, tell us exactly what is sickle cell and what is it not?
So, sickle cell disease is an inherited blood condition. It is not a contagious disease, so you are born with it right from conception. When the man and the woman come together, right at that place, the sperm, if the sperm is an S sperm, because the guy's genotype is AS, and let's say, for instance, the lady's egg that she ovulated that month was also an S egg, because if she's also AS, she's always going to produce either an S or an A egg. So if hers, it's an S, and the man's sperm was also an S sperm, then the child is going to be born with sickle cell disease. So it's an inherited blood disorder. It is not contagious. Sickle cell disease is not caused by witchcraft. So someone cannot hate you and want you to give you sickle cell disease. Sickle cell disease is not a punishment from God. So when you have premarital sex and you end up giving birth to a child with sickle cell,
you might encourage people.
Well, you're already doing it, so we have to say it, because some young people feel very guilty, especially the very religious ones, and they feel like because they offended God, God is punishing them with something because he says stay away. I mean, we advocate for abstinence and all, but you should know that sickle cell disease is not a punishment from God, and it's not contagious.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not something that happens to you after you are born. It is not contagious. It is not a punishment. Martha, is it a death sentence?
No.
Tell us why.
Sickle cell disease is not a death sentence. Looking at medicinal advancement, right now there's hydroxyurea. With the kids, there's penicillin V. There's folic acid. The multivitamins are there. If you take your medications, you get support, societal support, medical support, family support. It's not a death sentence. You can thrive, even though research shows that the average life expectancy for people with sickle cell disease is between 50 to 60 years. You can go beyond that, because even in ISCC, we have people with us who are in their 80s. Madam Beatrice is 87. So no, it's not a death sentence.
Okay.
You can thrive.
Theophilus, what are you doing from both organizations to mark World Sickle Cell Day today?
Okay.
Is there any free screening going on? There are so many people who don't know their genotype, you know? So is there anything that you are doing to help?
Okay, so we are collaborating with Sickle Gene Action Foundation to free screening for anyone who wants to check their genotype. So you want to know whether you are SS, AS, AA, just go. They are having it at
Martha.
Where is the screening happening?
It's in Dansoman.
It's in Dansoman,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, so when you walk in,
okay.
Yes, Akwebu, yes.
Akwebu Basic School.
Yes.
All right.
Dansoman.
Yes.
Okay.
So just walk in there, get yourself tested. You will get to know your genotype, then you can. So we encourage everybody to just go to Dansoman and get yourself tested to know your genotype. Then you can.
And it's absolutely free.
And it's absolutely free.
Okay.
No.
Well, thank you so much for coming. But I know that as advocates and as passionate as you are, there's definitely a message that you came with to share with our audience. So, Dr. Mary Anson, I'll come to you last. I'll start with you, Martha. What's the message?
My message is one: know your genotype. It saves lives. It saves a whole lot of hassle and stress, so that you'll be able to make very informed reproductive decisions. And also, you can join us for our conference tomorrow at Tank Palace, 9 a.m., to have discussion on sickle cell disease.
Theophilus, apart from listening to the education part of the conference, what else is there as a reason why people should at least attend this conference tomorrow?
Okay, so we get to make policies to help make the lives of sickle cell patients better. So we have stakeholders from UN, WHO, Ghana Health Service. We all come together to dialogue, and then we make policies to bring our ideas together. Then we help to know the place where we can send our letters, where we need to make a lot of noise out for them to hear our cry and also listen to our petitions.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to learning, if I do attend the conference, what it means when someone with sickle cell gets an attack, what to do around the person. I've been in one situation like that. I was lost because I truly didn't know what to do, you know. So I know that will also come up in the conference. Dr. Marianne, so you have the last word.
Yeah, so when you have a sickle cell crisis, please go to a place that you know that there are doctors and nurses who have the capacity to manage you. So if a bigger health facility is like 20 minutes away from you compared to the smaller healthcare center, once you are stable enough, then go to a bigger healthcare center. It gives you access to high quality care, and it saves you money as well. And please come to our conference. You learn a lot about sickle cell disease.
Well, you just heard from Dr. Mary Ansom. She's CEO and co-founder, International Sickle Cell Center. And her twin sister, Farm Martha Wiafe, is COO and co-founder, International Sickle Cell Center. And Theophilus Nyamedi is the secretary of Sickle Cell Disease Support Group of Ghana. And they join us for this conversation, inviting you to attend the conference tomorrow at Tank Palace. And of course, do pass by Dansuman and get free screening to know your genotype. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, so like I do, before I pop up, I have to drop one important information. And this time, it's a question of whether or not you're looking for a home in a prime location. Then Nesta's Home has got you covered. Our properties in Tema Community 26, just behind the Palace Mall, offer a serene atmosphere, easy access to transportation routes, and social amenities. Off-plan prices start at $35,000 US. And that's very cool. You know, the dollar is doing, the city is doing well. So this is the contact number if you want to get in touch. 053-101-4440 or 053-101-4447. You can also visit our website at www.nestas.com.gh. Another quick break, we'll return with more.
Welcome back. A reminder that the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties, and at Waylead, they say they provide quality housing at an affordable cost and with flexible payment options, and you can get there so that you get yourself your dream house. Well, the 2001 year group of St. Augustine's College, the college along the beautiful ocean of Cape Coast, is embarking on a legacy project to mark the college's 96th anniversary, which comes off in March 2026. Okay. Ahead of that, the year group will have a fundraising dinner on Friday, June 20th at the Aviation Social Center. And joining us are members of the, of Ghana's first Catholic second cycle institution. That's it, right? That's your school. Okay. All right. We have Eric Edu. They popularly call him Gaddafi. Ask you how he got the name. I'll ask him. He's the organizing secretary. Eric, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
But Gaddafi always had the thing on his head, or you don't have it. Why are you called Gaddafi?
I'm Gaddafi. I got it from the college, the beach resort.
Okay. Well, we also have John Michael. He's Legacy Project Chair. John.
Yes, sir.
Everything good?
Everything nice.
I always say if you're watching for you.
Yeah, Israel Police.
Israel Police. Police in your Shegeda.
Never. Ontum.
All right. So, why this project? Why do you want to do something like that?
Okay. So, generally, when you go through experiences growing up, you want to take the good ones out and make it work. When we were in St. Augustine's College, we had a canteen, right? Somewhere along the line, the canteen got destroyed. And we visited the school only to find that the people who serve food were selling under a tree.
Okay.
Yeah, or under trees. And the children had to sit around the park and stuff, eating, the young people. Now, this is not an ideal situation in any way, shape, or form. Most of us know that dining food in a boarding school is not always the best it could be. So if it's not enough, you want to top up somewhere. And because the scenario there was not conducive, we felt like it would be a good project to undertake. Luckily, it was on the school's wish list of projects that they wanted to do. So after we conducted the needs assessment, so as you can see on the screen.
So this is where they eat now?
Yes. Okay. And even us from 25 years ago, ate in a better, more conducive environment. And so we picked it off the school's wish list as a project we would undertake, and we're working full on.
Okay. All right. So it means that Let me come to you, Gaddafi. So you're putting up a canteen.
Sure.
Okay. Sure. What's the capacity?
200 seating capacity.
Okay.
And in our time, it wasn't that big. In our time, we could probably take 50 or less.
But you want to do 200?
Sure.
Okay. And what was the period within which you want to have this done?
By January, we have to finish, because the anniversary is in March. Then we hand over to the school for them to use.
Is it only for the 2001 year group or any other Absonian?
Yes, the project is for the 2001 year group, but then for the fundraising, all year groups, corporate bodies, and individuals are welcome to contribute.
Yeah. And that's going to happen on, I mentioned the date, but I remember.
Tomorrow.
Oh.
Tomorrow
Yes.
we are having the lunch.
Tomorrow Friday at the Aviation Social Center.
What time is it?
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
And how much are you looking at raising?
So the project itself is going to cost us 6 million Ghana cedis. And we estimated raising 10 million all in all, because there's also the organization of the 96th anniversary. So we will have to undertake a lot of projects, health outreaches, dinner events and everything. So the idea is to raise 10 million. That is our target.
Okay, 10 million. Yeah, not too big for you.
Yes, not too big, but then we can do it. We can do it alone. Okay. That is why we are calling on all to come and support. No amount is too small.
Okay.
Yep. So everybody has to come on board to support this worthy cause.
But aside the dinner, the dinner you're going to do tomorrow, can anybody else reach you? To bring in contributions.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
So how can it be done?
Yes, we have Momo lines. We have our bank accounts, and then as apps that you can also send monies through.
I believe we sent you a slide with the payment details on it, if they could project it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you want them projected?
So, yes,
that is there. So how's tomorrow's event going to be like?
Okay. So tomorrow's event is a fundraising dinner.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to talk about the project. We're going to feature it. Everybody's going to see why there's a need for it and what goes into it. Luckily, we landed ourselves the Amy Man of the Year, Dr. Lindsay. Dr. Lindsay, he owns JL Properties. He's a humanitarian, and best of all, he went to the best secondary school in this country, St. Augustine's College. And so Dr. Lindsay will be our chair for tomorrow's event. And we are hoping that other like-minded people who have the school's interest at heart will come on board and support us. And Dr. Lindsay has a good surprise for us that everybody's going to find out about tomorrow. But then between him, his company, JL Properties, as well as all of his humanitarian ventures, he plans to give us major support for our project. And so when you said 10 million and you looked at Gaddafi, no, don't look at Gaddafi. Look at what is behind us. And he's also the chancellor for Cape Coast Technical University, the first chancellor.
Okay.
And so education matters to him.
Yeah.
And if you look at the work he's done in regards to building of hospital units and equipment and the schools, as well as payment of fees and all that he does, you will know the kind of man he is and why there was no better person to chair us.
I wish you guys all the best.
Thank you.
But I'll give the last words to you, Gaddafi.
Sure. So we are calling on all people to come support our project. We need you. In this time and era, boys cannot eat under trees. It's an eyesore for a great college like St. Augustine's College. So we are calling on all individuals, corporate bodies to come support us build this mansion.
Okay. All the best to you. Eric Edu Gaddafi is the organizing secretary. John Michael is legacy project chair. One thing that I take solace in is the fact that St. Augustine's School, their uniform is just like mine. So, yeah. Oh, Badu Bonso, Senior High Technical School, Aguran Kwanta. That's my school. But we also wear the green top and the khaki dante.
So we'll make you can relate to that.
Oh, exactly, exactly.
You,
So,
you know, if you want to feel like a part of us, like you said, we intend for all well-meaning people to join us.
become
Feel free to bring a
don't worry, I'll come
contribution as well.
with, I'll come with a lot of
Just give us 200,000.
No problem. I'll let you talk to my accountant. To get it.
Thank you.
All right, now, are you ready to dream like I'm dreaming? Dare and deliver in the world of IT. Look no further than Jackson Institute of Technology, JIT, the only NIIT authorized training center in Ghana. At JIT, we provide world-class IT training for individuals and corporate organizations, equipping you with industry-relevant skills in software development, cybersecurity, networking, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, digital marketing, and more. We offer globally recognized certifications, practical job-ready training, and flexible hybrid learning options, which allows you to study online or on-site. Our expert instructors ensure hands-on learning experiences that prepare you for success in today's digital world. Conveniently located on the Ring Road near Circle in the heart of Accra's Central Business District, and in Kumasi, at Jackson Educational Complex headquarters, Ayeduase, near KUST. JIT provides easy access for students and corporate clients. Our state-of-the-art auditorium is also available for corporate events, seminars, and training sessions. Call us or WhatsApp us on 0596 996037, or you can visit our website at www.jit.edu.gh. JIT, your gateway to thriving IT career. So this is the AM show. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more, please. Well, a reminder that the AM show is sponsored by Whaley Properties, where we provide quality housing at an affordable cost and with flexible payment option as well. Well, let's do more talking on, sickle cell, because the sickle cell day will be coming up very shortly, and we need to create awareness on this. So we have in the studio with us Dr. Gifty Odame, who's a family physician specialist and team lead for the sickle cell clinic. Also, Frederick McAfee is a sickle cell warrior, and as we celebrate the world sickle cell today, we need to have a chat on that. Grateful to you, Doc, for coming in. The other time I had some people here, and I wanted to understand how sickle cell is. I got a lot more people sharing some thought with me, but let me go to the warrior and find out from him. How old are you, sir? Forgive me.
I'm 23.
23. Tell us your story. How have you survived till now?
I survived by the grace of God first.
Okay.
And then by my parents being very strong and very resilient. I think I was diagnosed when I was a kid, so that was the best thing that has happened to me.
Okay.
And because of that, I'm alive till today.
You knew it earlier?
Yes.
So how's your day-to-day like?
My day-to-day life, on a normal day, because my parents were always there for me, I was on medications and everything. Every day has been easy, but then since I left and went to university, it became quite hard because now I was on my own. They weren't checking up on me to see whether I was taking my medication or not. So then I had to fall back. Then I found the sickle cell clinic.
Okay.
In the University of Ghana.
Now, last time the doctor told us about the sickle cell disease, but just to bring it back again, what is it?
So it's a genetic condition. So genetic means that you are born with it, and you pick up one gene from your mother and one from your father. So you pick up one abnormal gene from your mother, and then one abnormal from your father. And the abnormal, when we say sickle cell, everybody knows about the SS.
Yeah.
But we also have SC.
Yes.
We have beta thalassemia. Okay, so when you do the initial test, it might just pick up. For some, they'll say that, oh, you're sickling negative. But sickling negative in our context means you don't have the S. But there are some who have the C.
Okay.
Yes. So we have people who have come into the clinic and they said, oh, but I was fine. So how come now they are saying that I have sickle cell disease? And there's a distinction between sickle cell disease and then being a carrier. So a carrier means that you just have one of the abnormal genes, that's the S. So we have the AS people who have AC. they are carriers. But when we talk of sickle cell disease, they have 2 abnormal hemoglobin genes.
That's the SS.
SSSC, or beta thalassemia.
Yeah. But how common is it in Ghana and Africa?
So in Africa, we have worldwide, let me start worldwide, we have about 7.4 million being affected. When we come to Ghana, we talk about 12% of all newborns having sickle cell disease. And when you compute it, yes, when you compute, you get around 15,000 of all newborns, yes. Unfortunately, why we want to advocate is that most people don't know. Out of this 12%, you have around 5% only being diagnosed when they're in the newborn stage. So, like for him, it was picked up earlier when he was a child. But for most people, it's not picked up because we don't screen for it.
Wow. What are the common symptoms?
So the common symptoms, the first thing I'll say is pain.
Pain?
Pain, excruciating pain.
Okay.
It's like tiny pieces of glasses passing through your veins.
Wow.
And then it lasts for it can go on for 2 weeks. And then first it might start out as a mild pain. And then boom, it becomes like a stabby pain. And for days, if you go on medications, they can give you like tramadol or morphine. But then once it wears off, we are back to the pain again. So that's the first symptom will be pain. I think the second thing I'll say...
Pain everywhere or specific areas in the body?
Usually, there can be specific areas, like your leg, and then you just become like a cripple. You'll be leaping. Or it could be your arm. And if it happens for a long time, it will begin to swell. Then it could be like in your joints. And then when it happens like everywhere, then it's like you're on fire.
I mean, as you say, I'm trying to imagine going through such a pain. Doc, how can we manage that? How are we able to manage those kind of symptoms?
So for people, so he talked about the acute pain, and people normally associate sickle cell with the acute pain, but sickle cell goes beyond the acute pain.
Okay.
So when we are managing sickle cell, we want to look at the pharmacological and then the non-pharmacological. So the non-pharmacological, we want to say that support for them. People who have sickle cell, they are not lazy. They're hardworking, just like us.
Speak up a bit for me.
People who have sickle cell are not lazy. They don't fake their pain.
Okay.
So they need that emotional support. They need that psychological support from everyone. Also, when it comes to the non-pharmacological, we are talking about diet, because you know that their red blood cells are breaking down frequently. So then their hemoglobin levels are low. So you have the dietitian coming in. You also have them, we don't say they shouldn't exercise, but they should moderate exercise. And then it comes to the medications. So for the acute pain, for normally people with sickle cell, they know themselves. They know what pain medication works for them. So they might come and I might say that, oh, let me give you tramadol. Then he would tell me it doesn't work for me because he knows himself. So we tell them how to manage the pain at home. If it's not working, rush to the hospital. And then also adequate hydration, taking in a lot of water for them. So for him, you'll notice that he's always carrying his water bottle around. So for people with sickle cell, they always have to have their water around. The things that also can bring about the crisis is stress or even extreme temperatures. So now the weather is changing. It gets cold. Always have your cardigan, because as soon as the weather changes, it might trigger crisis. We also have medications that we give to them, like supplements. So we have folic acid, we have Zincovid. The folic acid, what it does is that because the red blood cells are breaking down frequently, they need the folates in forming their red blood cells. So we give them the folic acid, and then we also give them zinc. For those who are under 5, we give them penicillin. Yeah. And then based on what's crisis you're coming in with, we manage you accordingly.
Interesting. I'm grateful to you, and we wish all of your colleagues, people like you out there, all the best. And thank you, Doc, you and your team, for what you do for them.
Thank you.
I wish you a quick recovery. I hope you can recover, you know. I pray that you do have that recovery. Yeah,
it's just survival instinct.
It's survival instead. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and that's it for us. Thank you. You heard me speak to Dr. Gifty Odame. She's a family physician specialist and team lead for sickle cell clinic at the Legon Hospital. That's it. Yes. Legon Hospital. Frederick McAfee is a sickle cell warrior. Charlie, thanks for coming through.
Thank you for having us.
This has been our package for you today, the AM show here.